welcome again to the talk show right here at PIWC Rockestown. Of course, God bless you for being with us tonight. It's going to be an amazing conversation today. We have some amazing and talented individuals on the show, and also today we also have a co-host. So that means my lawyer. That means it's going to be amazing. I couldn't handle these men alone. So why we here? Of course, um, as we did a couple of weeks ago with the woman had something to say to the man. Now, the man also has something to say to the woman. Isn't that going to be interesting? The main reason is to see how we're going to improve our relationship because communication is always something that we can always improve on. We love our women, the woman also loves us, so we want to make sure we're all on the same page. That is why we are here. So, now on the panel, we want to take this opportunity to welcome these panelists for their time. Thank you very much for actually giving us this time to be here with us. Again, when we called you, you did not say no. So God bless you for being here. On my right, we have my own brother Samuel Asiedu to join us. So thank you for joining us. All the way over there, we have my brother Norbert, also an elder of the church as well. So it's going to be an amazing. We have another brother Shadrach. Also, he's ready to actually speak to the woman. And then our one and only Dr. Elder Owusu also joining us here. Such a beautiful talent that we have here, everybody with a different experience that we are going to learn today. And then my own sister here, our own Megan Asafweje as the co-host, who's going to be asking a lot of the questions today. So let's, again, welcome. If you have not spoken to anybody, this is the time. Grab a brother, grab a sister. We're all going to learn today, and we are ready. Again, welcome to the talk show. We extend our greetings to our district pastor, Pastor Setosei, and also our presiding elder, Elder Dr. Emmanuel Osei Buama. So now let the conversation begin because we are ready. I think a lot of people took notes, and let's see how this goes. So again, welcome, and let's go. Now, you guys, I don't know if you did listen to our women. Our women had a lot to say about men, and they don't mean any harm.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure, but from the way I took from them, they do not mean any harm. So no attack. We're not attacking our women today. Again, we want to clarify some things and also give some advice just to see how we can improve our relationships with our women. But before we start, before I hand over to our co-host, now let's talk about some assumptions. There are a lot of assumptions that goes around about men. You will hear people say, oh, man this, man that. And then they put all of us in one category and say all men are the same. What are some assumptions that you believe you've heard that is totally not true? Like, this is the time we want to clarify that. That women stop saying this because you assuming and putting all men in one category. What do you think are some of the assumptions that you've heard that you believe is not true? Anybody can start.
Well, I've heard that, they will say men don't like to commit, especially in a relationship. They may say, it's hard for the man especially to commit to the woman. And that is not necessarily the case all the time, because once a man finds what they want in that particular woman, it's not very difficult for them to commit to her. So if you are with a man and you think he's finding it very difficult to commit to you, then it's possible he's not, he hasn't found what he's looking for. Because I can speak for myself as a man, and I'm sure the men on the panel too will agree with me. We know what we want for in a spouse. We know what we want for in a woman. So once we are dating and we are courting, if we see that trait in you, it's not very difficult to say, I would like to settle down with this person. So that's one of the assumptions that I've heard. It's hard for men to commit, but we can commit. We just look for certain things in the wife that we want, and then once we find it, it's very easy to commit. So that's one of the assumptions.
That's interesting. Never thought about it that way. So now, who else? What are some of the other assumptions?
I'll go. So an assumption is actually not fact, right? It's you are assuming something. So most likely it's not true. So if you make the category that all men, you've only met two, you've only met three. So right there and then I can say that it's not true. So whatever you are assuming about all men, once you use the word all men, it is not true. So I'm not even gonna give examples. So whatever you have in your head that you say all men, once you say all men, it's probably not true. If it's an assumption, if it's a fact, it's a fact. I'm a man.
Yeah.
What shows that I'm a man? Whatever shows that I'm a man, that's the point that I am a man. That's a fact. But if you are assuming something, let's say all men, like he said, all men don't want to commit. He hit it right on the head. You don't want to commit to the wrong person. So like he said, if he's not committing to you, it's not because he doesn't want to commit. It's because you are not the one that he wants to commit to. And I've heard, some females say, oh, once he left me and the next person he got with, he got married to her. Oh, that was because whatever he was looking for, he found it in the next person that, he went with. So it's not because he didn't want to commit or he had a problem committing. It was, the common denominator. It was you. Sorry.
You guys are really protecting men. I don't know.
Yeah, of course we have to. Let me add to what he just said.
Okay.
If that is the case, like we have to ask our ladies, have they tried all men? They've not tried.
Well,
all men.
maybe they have. That's why they said all men.
No. We can ask our ladies, if you've dated maybe 2 or 3 guys, they can testify to the fact that there was one trait that one guy had that the other didn't. There's something that you found in one man that you didn't find in another. And that settles the case, that all men are the same. So definitely women have had to be looking for, and the same thing applies to the ladies. So if I don't get what I want in you and I leave the scene, it doesn't make all men the same. So it is what it is.
Doc, what do you think?
Well, with what they are saying, just a different dimension.
Assumption.
Well, you see, when you start to paint all men with one brush, you make a mistake, because what makes a person who he or she is, there's a whole number of things that make up that individual.
Yes.
The culture that you come from, your family background, life experiences. So there may be things that I may say that these are very, very important things that I'm looking for in a woman. It may not mean anything to the second man. He will not care. So if you meet such people and then you try to generalize that every man is like that, that's wrong. It just cannot be. But one of the things that I've heard numerous times also is that men don't listen. Men don't listen. And then I think, they say it that way because most people, in this context, most females don't know how men think or how men process things.
And I hope they will know today.
I may be quiet, but I'm listening. The fact that I'm also not saying anything whilst you are talking doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not listening. I may not make any comment, but guess what? In about 2 days, 3 days, I'll call you and say, hey, honey, remember what you were talking about, such and such and such. I've thought deeply about it, and this is my response. They say we don't listen because we do not listen or contribute to the conversation the way they do. But if you take time to be with the person and you listen to the person and you watch his reactions to some things, I'm sure you come to a different conclusion.
Sister Megan, do you believe what these men are saying?
To an extent, yes. I agree with some points.
Okay.
I agree with some points. Yes, I do. So what are some of the things that women can do that will make you commit?
Well, each man knows what you're looking for in a woman. So if I'm dating, if I'm looking for a wife, I know what I'm looking for. So each what I want in a woman will be different from what my brother here wants in a woman. So, but
So talk about what you look for in your wife.
yes, no, that's fine. That's fine. What attracted me with my wife? Hi, Audrey. So what attracted me to her is the fear of God that I saw in her. That was number one.
From afar.
I watched her for a while. Like, I tell men all the time, before you even approach a woman, just watch her.
Okay.
Just watch her. Watch the way she talks. Watch the way she interacts with people. Watch the way she behaves. There are so many things you can learn from a person without even talking to them. You just watch the way she behaves around people. Watch her. So I watched her from afar, and then I saw something in her. So then that will initiate you to go and approach her. So then once I approached her, then of course you will learn more things as you engage with her, as you talk to her, and all those stuff. So that was key for me, the fear of God and the way she is in terms of how she humbles herself and then how she behaves. So those are certain traits that are very important. And then every man also wants a woman that respects them. That's very key. So as you begin the conversation, as I'm talking to her, I'm watching how she relates to me in terms of how she respects me as a man. So those are very important traits for me. The fear of God, how a woman handles herself in certain situations, the way she talks, and the way she treats the man. Very, very important. So that will make me commit.
Let me play the devil's advocate here, right? Because when we started, we talk about assumptions about all men. And we're saying that even if you start to say all men, they are wrong. But throughout our conversation, we're hearing that all men wants a respect. So that one there is okay.
Well, I don't know any man who would tell me I'm comfortable with my wife not respecting me. I mean, if that man is out there, I would like to know.
You'll be surprised.
Respect is mutual.
It's a mutual.
Okay.
I'm not saying like the wife is the only one who has to respect. No. The two of you have to respect each other. But it's like I said, I've never met a man who will say I'm comfortable with my wife, or a person I'm comfortable with my spouse not giving me the respect. If they are there, they're great. But I don't know if they are there.
Okay, we will just leave it like that.
Elder Owusu, I would like to hear your point.
Okay.
What drew you, or what traits did your wife show that made you know that that's the one you wanted?
And, before you start, how long you been married again? I'm trying to figure out how long we're taking you back. That's why.
She is taking me way back. I tell you that.
Okay.
We've been married for 30
Is it
years. Let me make sure my mic is working.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we've been married for 38 years.
38 years, wow.
Yes, so it's been a long time.
Absolutely.
But I still remember vividly what really caused my head to spin. I mean, one of the things that we usually say is that it's not beauty that drives relationship. It may be true, but in most cases, what you see tends to be what gets attracted to you. You first have to see.
Absolutely.
Before you can make any assumptions or make any conclusions. But for me, what I saw was this beautiful lady. She used to go to secondary school back then. And then when she comes home, we lived in a small town. In fact, my house and her house were adjacent to one another. And so, I think my mic is on. Okay, right. So when she comes home on vacation, and because we lived in the same neighborhood, and in those days, few houses had running water in the house, so we would go to the common area outside with buckets to go and fill it up and then bring it home. And I see this young woman washing her father's car.
Hey.
Yes, she will be washing the car on the side of the street, and another moment she's carrying a basket going to town to buy goods to come home, and then to cook food for the family. I saw her numerous times washing. Well, over here, when somebody says washing, we know you just put it in the washer. It wasn't like that then.
Yeah.
You take those shirts and dresses to the common area outside, and then you wash, and then you dry. And I saw her doing all these things. And you might say, perhaps I was watching her, but her family and my family were very close. So we interacted with each other quite a number of times. So in seeing all these things in her, then, it just occurred to me that this would be a very, very good individual to really move in life with. Not so much because of the work that she did, but the respect and the way she comports herself when she goes out. It just caused my head to spin. And 38 years later, we are still together. It's still spinning.
Elder Norbert, what's your take?
So
You there know, so if you lie, I'll let you know.
you sure you know?
I have no idea.
So what actually, and Elder mentioned it, usually we say, hey, you want to see this or see that, or like, she has a pure heart and everything else. Dude, when you first see her at a party, you have no idea who she is. It's the look that attracts you, like, that one. And then as you get closer to them, you get to know them a little bit more. So that was what happened. I was at an event 15 hours from home for me. And, I think she was 10 hours from home for her at an event. I saw her and I was like,
That's right.
Me like it.
and me like, me like. So I just said hi, and by just saying hi, her response back to, there are people that you just say hi to them and their response back to you is just negative. But she was positive, listened to me over the loud music, brought her ears closer before Koro. So it was, you could get closer to people and listen to what, I had to say, got her number. But as I got to know her better, I realized that she has a pure heart. She just wants to be there for people. She just wants to go out of her way to do things for people. And within a very short time, that's the one thing that I realized about her. And it took me back to my grandma. That's how my grandma is. And so my grandma will give you that shed on her back and, walk bare-chested and still be cold. And because you are fine. And I saw that in her. So it actually was one of those things. My grandma raised me. So it was like, oh, I love my grandma so much. So seeing this trait in her and the fact that, she was actually God-fearing as well. So it was like, oh, the perfect package is coming together. Prayed about it, and 11 years later, we're still here.
11 years. Wow.
Okay. Brother Sam.
Okay. Well, on top of the beauty,
That's right.
which is very important.
Brother Sam is not married, by the way.
Yeah.
So those watching, no.
Don't put me in trouble. So on top of the beauty, what I look out for in a woman is a woman who is selfless, a person who looks out for you. On top of everything, wants to check up on you, knows what is going on. Like a person who really wants to, thinks about you in all aspects. He wants to take care of you, know what you're doing, how the person can help contribute to your life and add value to you. That is what yes, because no man is in himself everything. Someone needs like a touch of something small to add to, you need something small to add to your life to make your life better. So if someone or a lady should be able to prove that, oh, I can add this value to this guy's life, then it's a go for me. So that is what I look out for in a lady who is She's selfless.
Nti wenye bi.
Deacon Moses is on you now. Man.
I have one now.
Okay. Amen. Moses, leave him alone.
I know. I mean,
Moses is on my case now.
no, it's amazing. We love to hear, especially those that are married, what attracted you to your wife. Brother Sam also contributed what he's looking for and the things that you look for. 3 of you, you married. You made a decision to marry your wife because of the things that you saw, or the things that attracted you, right? Obviously, you had other relationships that did not work, or I would say maybe they scared you away, or whatever the case might have been. What are some of those things that women do that will cause you to be like, okay, no, this is not for me, or let me just run, or flee?
Yeah. So let me go first before everybody says it. So
please don't.
It will be the same thing.
Don't mention any woman's name because they might be watching.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't even have any names in mind.
Okay.
But going off of what our brother Sam said, respect. As a man, you want your partner, your friend, your person you are talking to respect you. You want the person to add value to your life. You want that person to be there when you need them. You cannot be Superman every day. You cannot be up every day. There are going to be days where you are down. So on the day where you are down, you would hope that this person that you are talking to, or this person that you are trying to get to know, would have interest and say, hey, what is going on with you? I see you were a little this way today. Is everything okay? What is happening in your life? Hey, how is your health? How is your job? If you lost your job, what can I do to make your life better? And when you don't see those things, when you don't get the respect from the other person, then it's one of those things that it's a red flag. Because even from the ladies, when I listen to them, when you see those red flags, you gotta run.
Of course.
Because you're not gonna change anybody. So if the person doesn't respect you from the beginning, forget about submission.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
They don't respect you right now. So when you marry and they read the Bible, woman has to submit. Forget about it. It's not gonna happen. So for me, it's respecting the person, respecting me as a man, and also adding value, or me being an interest to you. As my partner. Thank you.
Well, let me something small. One thing is, no two persons are equal. And one thing is, if your woman tries to peg you or try to make a comparison between you and, let's say, a guy she has once dated, then if you realize you have to run, because sometimes, let's assume my finances are not so good. Comparatively, maybe I can handle giving you $100 every week. If you dated someone who was giving you $1,000 every week, then you try to, the women, I think they are laughing over there.
But it's only a 0 difference.
Yeah. All you gotta do is throw the 0 on the back, right?
And it's
100 and 1,000.
It's very difficult adding the 0. So if you try to measure me against someone else, it's a no for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Amongst other things, we will come back.
I think Doug has something to say.
Yes.
Oh no, I was trying to say
What's going
something
on with the mic?
The comment.
I think it's the batteries.
A bad mic.
Yeah, maybe you guys don't want to hear my. No, what Norbert was talking about, that you can't be a Superman all the time. It just clicked in my head that even every Superman has his own kryptonite.
That's right.
There will be a time that you just cannot get up and go, and we need to realize that. What really, I'm married now, so I'm not looking for anything. So some of these things may apply to those of us who are married, others may apply to those who are yet to marry. But for me, it's more like what keeps the relationship right now, because there is no turning back. And so what is it that you do whether you or your wife does that cause the relationship to be what it is. Okay. So one thing that I have, and again, that's one of the myths too. Some women tend to say, "Oh, I have 3 children, maybe 2 girls and 1 boy, and guess who the boy is? The husband. I'm not your child." Oh yeah, some women make that comment, and so I'm taking care of 3. I'm not your child, I'm your husband, my goodness. You know, so if you have a woman
I never thought about it that way. This is
yeah, does not respect you, and the respect is very, very important.
wow.
Then you know, even for those who are yet to marry, it becomes a red flag, you know, to them. And for those of us who are married, when that happens, you tend to throw the man away by not giving him the due respect. We know, and attention as well. We know respect should be mutual. But when one side does not commit to that respect, then the mutuality is not there anymore. Okay, so you want a woman who will respect you for who you are, just as you are also respecting her. But there are some few things, little things that really add value to a marriage. For instance, if your wife is interested, or at least shows interest in some of the things that you do, you know, it makes you feel good that you are with a partner.
Exactly.
Look, my wife can sit here and watch football, and they will come and tell me, "Honey, oh, he's just about to do a Hail Mary." And I said, "What do you think is a Hail Mary?" And she will explain it to me.
Wow.
So when you have your wife or your spouse showing interest in some of the things that you do, it tends to bring you together. Okay, we know women like details. When they ask you a question, it's not the answer that they are looking for, but what they are mostly looking for is the way to the answer. And so they like details, and if you are a man, and this is a secret for the men, learn. When she asks you a question, give her the details and then give her the final answer. If you go straight to the fact, they will tell you you don't know how to talk.
It's too short.
It's too short. You don't communicate because they expect more. Whereas men, we just want the bottom line. Tell us what it is, and that's it. And we are okay with it. So I say this to say that men and women are different, and if we don't realize the differences between men and women, we will paint ourselves with the same brush, and there will be chaos in the house all the time.
I mean, amazing. That's what we're trying to see if we can find some of those differences, and it's hard. I mean, you did mention about, especially one of the ladies did mention that they are really detailed, because I think she mentioned that if you ask a woman what is in this water bottle or something, they would just go detailed, but a man just want to drink water.
That's all it is, right? That's it. And to add to what that said, you know, every time it's like, I sometimes share an office with my wife, and I would make a phone call to a friend or something, and when I'm done, I was come on, the crowd. Literally saying that our conversation is not that sweet. Why? Because we went straight to the point. We talked about what we needed to talk about. We were done within 2 minutes, and everybody moves on. We are good. The same thing if she calls a friend right now to talk about it.
Where did you do your hair?
It will be a whole thing before, like Doc said, it's a whole scenario. Like, oh, hey, where are you? Oh, I'm in, you know, around this time I'm doing the talk show. I'm done. That's it. Where are you? Oh, when I left home, I stopped by the store. I got a couple of things, you know. So I get that, and that is really true. And so that's why sometimes, like Doc said, that sometimes they feel like we don't communicate. But it's only because of the way that we communicate. It's a little different from the way they do.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, to bridge that gap, you just have to learn. We have to learn from each other. Realize that when a female or when your woman is coming to talk to you, she's going to give you all the details. Listen to it. Even though it might feel like it's too much information for you, listen to it. Acknowledge it. And I remember, you know, when from the ladies one, right? Nicole was saying, just say, oh, really? You know, so acknowledge it that, you know, whatever she's saying, oh, he did that? You know, like just that is how for her. Right?
But you know, men are not going to do that.
Well,
But for her for her specifically, right? That was one of the things that she felt like when the person that she's speaking to, it shows that you are listening,
Yeah.
right? So I'm saying that to say that learn who your partner is, who your wife is, who your husband is. Know the way that when you're communicating with them, is it that when you respond to them in between, that actually makes them feel like you're listening? Or, hey, like Doc said, you can listen the whole thing and say, okay, and come back 2 days later and give a whole, synopsis, a whole, explanation of it because you went over to go think about it. Your normal might not be my normal. And that's one of the misconceptions we have. That because these people do it this way, we also have to do it that way. And I'm saying this in terms of a relationship or even marriage. And, I guess we'll get there and then we'll talk about that more.
Yeah.
And then what I want to say real quick. Men also have to understand that, like Elder was saying, women love attention. That's just
We sure do.
women love attention by the way they are built. So if your wife or your the person that you are talking to is engaging in a conversation with you, make eye contact, make her feel like at that moment she's the center of attention. Even if you think the conversation, like Eda was saying, is not interesting or whatever, just make the effort because with women it's the little things. You'll be surprised. It's the little things which you do that they are like, oh wow, it's So their attention. If you're a man who don't like to listen, and I know some men our attention span is like that, but you try and do your best. Like Eda was saying, you try and do your best and just listen to what she's saying, and then pay attention because you also have to comment. You also have to, say something about what she's saying. If you listen and then she asks you something and you weren't listening and then you say something and then it's be like, oh, so all this while you are not paying attention to me. so you listen, you pay attention to what she's saying, and then that keep peace in the home. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of things. It's
So
a lot of
basically, we're saying that we shouldn't just make them feel that they are their attention. They should be their attention. We really have to make sure that we give them all their attention. So some men will probably say, before Sister Megan takes over, some men will probably say, okay, maybe I'm playing a video game. I'm listening. Maybe I'm multitasking. Even one of the women did mention something like that. Okay, if my husband is talking to me and I'm playing this game that my husband knows that I love, he is fine with it. Maybe, man, you guys like to multitask. What is wrong with that? Is this something that a woman should understand that maybe I'm multitasking, but I'm still listening? Is that even a good advice?
Having been married for 38 years, I will tell you that will not work.
Okay.
Now, when you are doing, sometimes, we work from home periodically. Sometimes when you are watching the best program there is that you like on TV or on the internet, what have you, and your wife comes to you or calls you, drop everything. For the few moments that she is talking to you, drop everything and give her your attention. Even if you do not contribute to the conversation, just listen. And then after she's done, you wouldn't turn around and say, are you done? Obviously, that would mean like you weren't actually interested. You could say, oh, honey, that was very insightful. This is something that we really need to have time, sit down and then talk about. Let me just get this paperwork out of the way. And then in the evening, we will talk more about it. And stick to what you have said and spend time. Sometimes we think relationships just thrive all by itself. It doesn't. You have to put in some work. There is a quote that this guy came to a job and he was having a seminar, and I wrote it down here. He says, relationships move at the speed of trust. Relationships move at the speed of trust. So if you trust the individual that you are in relationship with, then it makes things a lot easier. You do not second guess the person because what he or she is saying, for it to be true. But if I hear the things that you are not saying, only that, but what you are saying, I'm really not hearing those things, then you have a problem. How can you make a decision with someone you don't trust? You can't. Years ago, we had a marriage seminar for the young ladies who are about to be married. And I made a mention to them and say, look, when the guy that you are courting or dating, if you would, tells you, baby, let's go all the way, slap him, and then tell him that those who says so, and then get away from there. Now,
all the way, what is that?
Huh?
What is all?
All the way means, having like that one too. I'm talking about sexual relationship
Got you.
with a woman that you are not married to, that you are thinking about marrying. When the man does something like this, that person is a thief. Because he has taken something that does not belong to him. And so how can you trust a thief? And then you go forward and marry a thief, and then try to live the rest of your life with this thief. But unfortunately, some of our ladies are also the same people who will encourage the thief to act. That's the unfortunate part.
They are all thieves.
So now when you have two thieves in the house, don't even ask.
Thief man, thief woman. Go ahead, Sister Megan.
Okay.
Okay, you
No, continue.
When it comes to the point of who listens to who, in my opinion, I think men are monodimensional. Maybe not
Explain.
all men, but in my opinion, most men are monodimensional. And women are a woman can be multitasking and will still be listening to whatever you have to say. But me as a man, myself, I can't be doing something else and tell you I'm listening at the same time. It's not true.
So you can't be watching Premier League.
And be listening, no. If I'm listening to you, I'm listening to you. If I'm playing the game, I'm playing the game. If I'm watching the football, I'm watching the football. But a woman can be cooking, can be doing a whole lot of things at the same time and yet be listening.
And I think I'm a woman. Oh.
Because he said most.
I got you. No,
Yeah,
I'm just
he said most, so not everybody. I kind of
So
agree.
to your exception.
Yeah, let's move to the next topic. This is getting very interesting.
Okay, so that brings us to what should women look for in a spouse? For all the women that are single, what should they look for in a spouse?
Well, quick answer. If I were not married, I would say they should look at me.
That's a good one.
But I think maybe we will defer it to you, sis.
Sam, I think this is your question, so you take it. No, it's your question.
No, it's still a man.
Go ahead, Sam, and then I guess we'll chime in.
Well, what do you have to look for in a man?
So if I say something, he will say that I'm on him. So.
I think we have to take this. Yes,
Bail him out a little bit.
I'll come back to it.
Absolutely, I know you will.
Well, a lot of things. We certainly don't want our young men doing things that married people do before you decide that he's the best of men. And so some of the things that you want to look for is how that man treats his own siblings or family, or when he's even with friends, in just making some points or discussion or watching a movie or a game that he's not aware of himself. Just keep an eye on how he reacts. And I'm thinking that in this context, you are probably someone that you might be interested in, or maybe you go out with every now and then type of thing. So watch the way he acts or reacts when he's not conscious of himself. Because look, if I have to put up a show to get what I want, I will put it up.
That's true.
And once I get it, then you know the real me.
That's true.
But when I'm not aware of myself, watch the things that just come out, that just drop, how the person reacts. And so that's what a key. And also, if you are In our culture, when you marry a man or a woman, you are not marrying that single individual. You are pretty much marrying to a family. So watch how the family, if they have a family union like we have, watch how they interact. You know, there are some families, every time they meet, it is because there's a big issue and they need to settle it. And in most cases, it winds up ending in fights and people leaving early. Now, if this is what goes on in the family that you are marrying into,
Then flee.
you want to watch out. So I'll just stick with those first two. There are other things.
Yeah. Before you guys chime in, so, and I like the way Doc was just looking at Megan and speaking, and it's lovely, because I think when we first asked the question, we probably didn't know which way to go, but Doc answered it perfectly. We wanted to, like, let's say, because it just came in mind when Doc was looking at Megan, I said, okay, let's say your daughter comes to you. What advice are you giving your daughter? What should your daughter look in a man if they want to have like certain relationship at that point? So whilst you guys are thinking about it, you're speaking to your daughter. I think that will be more emotional.
Oh, hey, baby girl. So, you know, the first thing I will say is, and I want to use an analogy from the ladies. A bird cannot marry a fish.
Okay.
You know, say they said it. A bird cannot marry a fish. If a bird and a fish gets married, where are they going to live? You know, so as a Christian, one of the things you want to look out for, the people that you want to yoke with, should be somebody that is God-fearing and the same faith that you are in. That's the first thing. And you also want to look for somebody that respects you. You want to look for somebody that respects you as a woman and loves you. You know, if the person does not respect you, run. If they do not love you, run, because it's not going to change. And not just the fake love because they want something from you, so they are pretending like they love you. But their actions will actually show you if they truly do love you. When you are down, what are they doing when you are down? When something is going wrong with you, how are they reacting to it? You know, those are the little things that you want to look out for. You know, so baby girl, please, not anytime soon.
Well, as a man, the way you treat your daughters is very important. I personally have 2 girls. Hi, girls. So the way you treat them is very, very important, because that's who they are likely to bring home. You see, so if I'm the father and I bring them up in the fear of God, you know, I treat them how a man, they see how I treat their mother, my wife. See, they see all those things. So if you have daughters, the way you treat your wife too is very important, because they are watching. They are watching how daddy is treating mommy. So you shower them with love, you bring them in the fear of God. As they grow, you tell them this is the way a man is supposed to treat a woman. And you lead by example. The way you talk to your wife, the way you treat your wife, because more than likely, the child is going to bring home somebody that acts like daddy. Because that's what they see.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
What they see.
You know.
So
it's true?
Yeah. It's
Let me answer that real quick. It's true.
It can be true. Like, from my understanding, the relationship, I believe a father and daughter's relationship is very, very important, because that is the standard of what the daughter will look for in a spouse. It tends to happen.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So women tend to marry, men that imitate or kind
So their
of
father.
fills in the gap for their father.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
You can have both extremes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the same with
Okay,
guys
okay.
too. Like, if you're so close to your mom, it looks like some way, somehow, you look out for those qualities in the woman that you want to marry.
Yeah.
Like those qualities in your mom.
And the band of wow. Because nobody can replace your mom, and when you set that standard, and your spouse is not able to meet that,
yeah, it
then
becomes a challenge.
that's where I think there will be a challenge, and that's why I say that's it. Every woman is different, every person is different. Their upbringing and everything is different. So if I would not advise my son to look out for somebody that is just like mommy or something, right? But
It comes naturally.
it comes naturally.
Yeah.
They
I don't think they
see
go with the
way-
intention
no,
that,
no.
oh, this is a,
They
no.
see the way.
Yeah,
The
but
kids
you
see the way
you
you
have
treat
to
their
curve it in some way, or you have to set a limitation to it. That's all I'm saying. Because if you want that person to be just like, you know, mommy, or like you have that in mind, you know, I get that. You know what? Hey, mommy's been great at home and all that stuff, right? So you would wish that your wife would be this way. Then, if you're not careful, if your wife doesn't live up to that standard that you are setting, but your wife is doing her very possible best, then you know what? Because she's short, your mom, you have your mom at 11, and your wife is like 10.5. You still see her being short. I think that's all I'm saying, that it might be an issue. That's you know, I don't disagree. I'm saying that if you look at it from that standpoint, there might be an issue. Yep.
So it will be an issue management instead of issue prevention.
Yes.
I'm really interested in this topic, right? I mean, we have Doug. You are married for 38 years. You say 11 years. Shadrach, 8.
0.
That's why I didn't ask you.
We'll go with the average.
So, obviously, there is something that is happening in the marriage that keeps it going. I mean, like Doug said, that's why I'm still with this beautiful, my beautiful wife for this 38 years. Because right now we are speaking to the ladies. I'm not talking about you, man. What do you think a woman should do, or what is your wife doing that keeps the momentum going in the marriage, that makes you as a man desire your wife more? You see what I mean? Because you could think about, let's say I've been interviewing and I want this job, but as soon as you get this job, you kind of relaxed. Okay, manyewi, I have it now. Now what? You know. So we need some spice in there. Now some women are out there. They're saying, well, maybe some of the spice is going down. What advice would a man give to the woman? Some of the things that a woman would do to keep the relationship going for a man to desire the wife more.
This is a mouthful.
If you want a promotion, you got to keep working hard.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, there are a lot of things, that I see in my wife, and what she does that keeps the relationship going. When we started off, we talked about respect. Respect for every man wants respect, and I suppose that's the same with every woman. But here we are, kind of talking on behalf of the men. Every man wants respect. After 38 years, there has never been a time that my wife has disrespected me. There has never been a time that she has said something to demean me. So she's someone who has my heart. And you know, I can feel vulnerable with her because I know my shortcomings are safe with her. If you have a woman who will use your shortcomings against you at some point in time, you are in big trouble. And that's one of the reasons why men don't talk. Because if I open up to you, and then you know my shortcomings, and then you use that against me, the next time I'm not going to talk. I'll just be quiet. But I'm talking about me.
Of course.
I have the best of women, I can assure you that. Not only is she God-fearing, raised in a very, very good family, she goes the extra mile. My wife is the kind of person, if let's say, if I were threatened by someone that they will blow up my car, my wife will wake up in the morning and will go and drive the car just to make sure that it's safe before it's time for us to go to work.
Wow.
So yes. So if you have someone like that who is trustworthy, who is committed to the relationship, and then that's the one definition of the two shall be one. Who sees you as herself, you are a blessed person.
Wow.
And for me, that's what I have.
Shadrach, what do you have?
A lot of things.
A lot of, but, a wife who loves the husband, and like what did I say? A wife who loves and respects the husband. I have that. It's very important. It's because as time goes, after you're married for some time, the kids will come in. Life happens, and then, the attention at times it takes the attention from the couple, and then it goes on the kids. So it seems like the time that you two used to spend in the beginning is beginning to go down. So the spouse, the couple has to make time for each other. That's very important. Even if it's to talk about what is happening.
Let it be personal to you. I want you to say, make time.
Oh,
yeah. I want you guys to come from a personal experience.
I always make time for us to talk.
Sorry.
I always.
The woman. What does your wife do that makes it? So remember, we are speaking to the ladies.
Okay. The wife has to make time for the husband. The wife has to respect the husband, like our elder was saying. It's the way you behave, the way you talk, the way you do all those things. Those things are very important. And my wife knows that I am the spiritual head of the home. Like a man is the spiritual head of the home. So even if I do something that's wrong, the way she approaches me about it, the way she brings up my mistake, so to speak, it's like
to
me.
Perfect.
You see, the way she brings it up, the way she tries to, let's talk about it, let's find a better way to do it. Those are all very important. It makes me love her even more. It makes me appreciate her even more, because you don't want a situation where, it's like Ella was saying, something that you do is used against you, or in an argument, or in something where she'll bring it up and start. So all those are the things that she does, which makes me even appreciate it even more. And I see the way she is with our 2 daughters and all those things. So it's time for us. She makes time for me as a husband. That's very important. You always have to make time for your husband. And then the way she treats me, respects, loves, keeps the marriage going.
Absolutely.
Very important.
I may add something to it before I forget the thought. One thing also that I've noticed in my relationship, and unfortunately we generally tend to ignore it. My wife is not expecting Superman every time. And the thing is, as you age, certain things become more important than others. And so the wife should also be willing to make changes to some of the things, whatever that thing might be. What really got your attention and got you jumping up and down when you were 30 is totally different when you hit my age in the 60s. You find out that you want more attention, more quality time, just to talk about things as they were years ago. And for me, I consider myself very fortunate. Not only do we come from the same town, our houses are just adjacent to each other. My mother and my wife's father, they were all friends. It's like two families that are friendly towards each other. And so the thing of it is, you want such quality in a marriage, because there will be times, and I said this, I think, in one of our programs, and people laughed. I said, look, young men, when you marry, that's your wife, and for the young ladies, that's your husband. Enjoy life, because there will be a time that things that you can enjoy now, you can't enjoy anymore. There can be a time that when you get home from work, you tiptoe to go to bed. You hope that she's asleep. Now, in your late 20s and 30s, you can't wait to go home. So enjoy what you have now. But sometimes just ignore some of those shortcomings. Life is very, very short. And enjoy what God has given to you. Because guess what? Because of other things, there will be a time that certain things you can't enjoy anymore. And the wife should be an individual who can sense that and make changes. You know, it used to be that, and we are all guilty. Most of us are guilty about this. When was the last time you took your wife out to dinner?
Last week.
I know
Recently.
Some of us do it, and that is great. You know, but when us,
Maybe because you guys are still young.
well, enjoy it. But in my situation, all my kids are grown. 3 of them are married. They are gone out of the house. It's just my wife and I. I mean, as much as we love our kids to be there, now that they are gone, it's freedom. You know, so I think not just on her, but on me too. We have to be able to make the effort and say, honey, tonight don't cook anything. Let's just go out and eat. That's why I'm saying we are guilty of those things because we seldom do it. But we should do it. All I'm getting at is as the relationship moves forward, there will be changes in the things that you liked when you first started than when, but right now, the taste is different. And so both of us have to be willing to adapt to the new reality. You know, you don't expect a 70-year-old, 66-year-old to always waking up every night 5 days in a week and then go to work. It just won't happen.
Yeah,
Give it to a 27-year-old and they want more weeks. you see my point?
They will do double.
That is why relationships should not, especially the marriage, should not be based solely on sex. Because when that happens, guess what? You have nothing to talk about in your later years. You have to build memories for yourself and your wife. So when the kids are gone, you can still have something to talk about.
We will definitely talk about the sex part, but we will leave that for later. Mr. Norbert, what are some of the things that...
all they have said.
Yeah, but I still want to hear from you. They said their individual stuff. Now I want to hear from you. And after that, Sam, I'll come back to you. So be prepared for that. Because we want to hear from an unmarried person. What do you envision? What do you think should be something that should keep the relationship going?
So for me, it's my wife is like I told you, she has a very clear heart, and you know she goes out of her way to help people, and the way she takes care of my kids. I went 3 straight years where I wasn't home like most of the time. I am gone, 3-4 days out of the week working. I'm out of state working, and through all those years, the way she took care of the kids, the way she handled the home, the way she took care of everything in my absence. And when I get home, there wasn't so much that if I wanted to complain, it's because it's me, Kwabna, I want to complain. It's because I was just nitpicking about little things. But she kept the home even in my absence. And I appreciate and love that about her so much. She still does that today, and when I travel a lot still, but she's always there making sure that, like, I'll do something in public and I don't realize that what I was doing was wrong. She won't say anything. There are times where she would kind of give me an eye, pull me to the side to somewhere and kind of be like, yo, and then so I would have to go back and try to apologize to the person, even right there and then, if it's possible, because I'm passionate sometimes. And because out of my passion, I might, go a little bit off, and then she realizes it and she's like, come now, you are going a little too far. You might have a point to make, but you're going a little too far. And she will not say this in front of everybody, to shame me or anything like that. She always does this in private. And I love that about her. And that's the thing. That's, a sign of respect. Not disrespecting you in front of other people, not belittling you in front of people. And so that's one of the things that I love so much about her that keeps us going. Making time for each other. It's when you have 4 kids, you have to be deliberate about the time that you're gonna make for each other. Thank God for teleworking. So when all the kids are going to school during the day, it's both of us at home. Either she's back from home, back from work, and she has to sleep. I'm working from home. We've carved out time within those times where we are able to sit down and talk about, what has gone on, the previous week, what is coming up ahead of us, and what we need to do, because with the number of homeworks and the things that are there, if you're not careful, you miss some of them. And we just talk about, just life in general. And so making that time, it's been very important, and that's what keeps us going.
So basically, for the married folks, making time, the way the woman keeps respecting you, like from the beginning, they still don't disrespect you. The things that you guys used to love, let's continue to love those things, and be willing to change. Like Doc said, things change, and your wife has been doing that just to keep the spice going. Yeah. Mr. Sam,
before he comes, somebody says that you need to learn how to say "I do" to multiple people in the same person.
I don't get it.
Okay, so
I get it.
you get it?
I get it.
So you said "I do" to your wife, right? On I said "I do" to my wife, 2012, right? I have to, in 2013, she's the same person, but something has changed. I need to learn how to say "I do" to the 2013 version of her. And we are in 2022. I need to learn how to say "I do" to like Doc was saying, things change about the person. Things change about people. And so you need to learn how to say "I do" to those things that have changed about the person and learn to move on. You cannot expect your spouse to be the same slim things when you first met her. It's not naturally. It's not even. It's not even feasible. You got to go the extreme to be that way. So you need to learn how to adapt and say "I do" to the same person.
So we're basically telling the women, our men, we change as well. So they have to learn to say "I do" to the person you married. It doesn't even have to wait till like a year. It should be like every day.
Every day, as you evolve every day.
Absolutely.
As you evolve every day.
Absolutely.
You need to learn to say, "Oh, so you used to." So I used to drink, regular water, just as an example, right? Now when we go to the restaurant and they come and they ask, "What do you want to drink?" All my kids are going to say hot water.
Because you drink hot water.
Because that's what I drink now. And so when I tell somebody, "Go get me water," I don't have to say that anymore. So, and that's the new thing. So
and your wife has said "I do" to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Because when I just say Erisi, get me water, right? I don't even have to say get me hot water.
All right.
I just say get me water, and she knows that it's hot water that I'm talking. Unless if I specifically say cold water, then she knows. But if I say water, she knows that now when I say water, it's hot water.
No
something
problem.
like that.
All right, Mr. Sam, you have any feedback, or we should move on?
Okay, let me add something. So,
Okay.
One thing that I also look out for is for a woman to appreciate the little things that you do for them. And as we initially said, we are not supermen. We can do some things, we cannot do all things. So the little things that we are able or capable of doing, it should be appreciated by the women. And on top of it, if there is something that you want me to do or something that you would love to see me do, let's sit on a negotiating table. Let's talk about it. What is it that I can do right? What is it that I'm doing that you don't like? If I'm able to know all these and we are able to reach a consensus, then it keeps us moving. Because I want to know you more, and knowing you more increases the love and the affection that I have for you. So we sit on a negotiation table. It's not about arguing and you didn't do this and you didn't do that. No. Let's discuss.
Are you sure you are not married? You are speaking like a married.
I'm not.
You are very talented. You are very knowledgeable. That's really great. All right, sorry. Go ahead. Was that?
Okay, so now we come down to submission. So we understand that men are the leaders of the house. But what are some advice or some ways for the women, or ways that your wife shows submission to you, or what are some ways that you can give us examples of how we can be submissive to our husbands? Also, I'm asking also for myself as well. So take me as your daughter.
Okay, I have a question here. Are men always the leaders in the house?
Well, let's go this way. So So biblically, men are the head of the house, which is the considered the
According to
leader.
scripture.
Yes.
Okay.
So I see where you're going, but I think we're looking at submission as in respecting the leadership of a man, that we are trusting this man to be the leader of the house. But our women are asking questions that we really want to help the man. We want to make sure that we assist the man in actually leading the home. But most of the time, they might come out like, okay, they are the leader of the house because of they probably see themselves doing much of the assistance. Then you don't see any weight coming from the man, if you get what I'm saying. So our women is saying they are saying that we love to help our men, we love to help our husbands, but we don't want to be like we are the leaders and the men are not doing anything. So that is why they ask that question: how do I assist? How do a woman assist a man without taking charge per se, without making it look like somebody looking and sees, oh, as for this house, it's not Shadrach leading, it's the wife that is leading. You see what I'm saying? Something like that is what they are asking. They don't mean any harm. Again, let me repeat that.
Yeah, so I think that the main thing is that, and I mentioned this earlier, your normal is not somebody else's normal, right? So every home, it's very different. And so, yes, the man is the spiritual leader in the home. What does that really mean, right? So me giving the finances to my wife to manage, does that mean that she's leading? Or me just allowing my wife to take care of all the bills and everything, does it mean that, the wife is the leader in the house now? So it's one of those things that when there's respect, when there's respect, and you have to understand that marriage is a partnership between the two of you. There's the woman, when your wife respects you, even if you are not even if you are not acting like a leader, right? She will still prop you up and make you look like the leader to the outside world, while she is the one. You're gonna be standing tall, but behind you is gonna be your wife, actually behind you, actually propping you up and holding you up, so that when everybody's looking at you, they feel like, oh yeah, this guy is standing tall. But actually behind you is your wife, and that's where the support and the partnership comes in. But it all comes down to the two of you talking about it. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. In my home, I cook. Why? I love to cook. My wife is a fanti. So you already know, say, like, she knows how to cook. She knows pastries and everything. She knows how to cook. But I love to cook. And looking at everything that she has to do in terms of work and the kids and everything else, and the fact that I told you I was traveling a lot for work. So why would I leave all that on top of her, right? So it started off with me, because I know I'm going to travel, let me cook a whole lot and leave it for her so that she doesn't have to go through doing that. And over the years of me doing that, I have come to love it so much that even now that I'm home, when she's in the kitchen, I'll be like, yo, man, you in my domain, you my way, man. You need to move, right? But that is the normal for us. That works for us. It might not work for you. So don't make the societal normal be your normal. The two of you need to sit and decide what the normal is. And as you do that, don't say because, they say when I do this, it means that I'm trying to take control. No. The two of you, I have my weaknesses. You have yours. You are great at finances. I'm not. You take care of the finances. Involve me in it. Don't make those decisions on your own, though, but let's make it together. But you are the one that understands that, okay, if we invest this money here, if we move this money here, if we do this way, it will actually be beneficial to the family. Great. So you do that part of it. I'm also good at something else. So I do that part of it. And as a partnership, we move on, right? So to me, yes, the man is the spiritual leader in the house, where, yes, it is true. But at the same time, when it comes to the day-to-day running of the house, I believe that you need to run it as a partnership and what works for you as a family.
I like the way you did mention that, they can do the things that they are good at, But I love the way you said that. Communicate that, right? Because that's what they want to know. They said the women said they love to, you know, help and make sure that everything goes on in the house. But if they're picking up all those spots and you don't know about it, how does that make you a leader, right?
Yeah. So you just need to communicate. You realize that, oh, hey, my husband, every month we are behind on our bills. Every month we are missing and we are being charged overdraft, you know, late fees and everything, right? And you, the lady, you are realizing that. So, you know, you can just bring it up and say, hey, you know, how about this month, you know, let me take care of the bills for this month. And then, you know, oh, let me take care of the bills for next month. You know, and so you kind of bring it in slowly. You kind of just will it in slowly and communicate it with him and be like, you know what, I realize you have a lot of things on your plate. So how about you just leave the payment of these bills and stuff to me so that I can help you in taking care of that. So you have 99 things. Let me take one off. So now you only have 98 to worry about. You know, so you communicating and helping the person that way. But when you come in and say, hey, you last month, you made the bill late. This month into this one too is late. I'm going to be the one that is going to start paying for it. That's when the conflict comes in. So respect and communicate.
Okay, just something small to, you know, you are dwelling so much on the finances. And I have a small question here.
Yes.
Why is it that when it comes to the women, it looks like their money is theirs, but the man's money is ours?
That's what they were told when we were getting into marriage.
Oh, okay. Okay. Please.
You will get to understand.
Oh, really? So that's the case?
No, I don't. It's not the case. No, it's not the case. I'm just kidding. It's definitely not the case, but we will touch on it. But go ahead, Mr. Shadrach.
Also, like what Ella was saying, find out what works for you in your home. Okay? Now, we said the man is the spiritual head of the home. What does that mean? If you are the spiritual head of your home and you are abusing your wife, if you are the spiritual head of your home and you don't respect your wife, if you claim you are the spiritual head of your home and the way you treat your kids is wrong. Like he just said, if you are the spiritual head, you don't pray, you don't do those things. You see, God created it this way. The man loves, and love is by action. If I say I love my wife, it's the way I treat her.
Yeah.
It's the way I support her, the way I protect her. Love is not, honey, I love you, but then back, you know, when we are in front of people, I say I love you, but then when we go home, I'm doing all kinds of things. So the way you treat your wife is very important. Once the man loves, automatically, most women who are God-fearing automatically will humble themselves and submit to you. Yeah. By the way you treat them. See, so if you are the spiritual head of the home and you are doing all those things that God requires for you to do, I mean, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay the bills or all those things. There are some women who are making more money than their husbands. That's perfectly fine. But the way you treat your wife, the way you love her by the things that you do, those things are very important. That automatically touches her heart. So at times, the woman doesn't even realize, but she has humbled herself so much to you because of the way you treat her. So those things are very important in terms of the household, how the man treats the wife. Because if you claim to be the spiritual head of the home, the way you treat your wife is extremely important. And some men will say, oh, my women don't do this, my women don't humble themselves. Like I always say, how are you reacting to, how are you treating her? I find it hard to believe, I mean, if you have a spouse that you do all those things, like you do all those things, you pray together, you support her, you love her, you take care of the kids very well, and she still quarrels with you, or she still doesn't respect you, then you may have married the wrong person. I mean, that's just in extreme cases.
So let's get back to this one here, though, because I know everything we're saying is very important. I just want to make sure that our women are saying that I want to help our man, I want to help my husband, my man, but I don't want it to seem like I am taking over and leading the home. You see what I mean? So everything that we are saying, very important. But what advice are we giving the woman that what can you actually do to still make me feel like I'm the leader, but not taking over and, let's say, trash talking the man or something like that. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I think let me start off with this thing that I think we misinterpret when it comes to submission, and I'll get to your question.
Okay.
Before you even get to the point where the Bible tells the woman to submit to her own husband, the Bible says submit to one another, even before you get to that point. So the submission is not just one way, it's both ways.
I agree.
Okay, just so the women don't submit to other people's husbands. The Bible makes it clear, submit to your own husband. But, you know, if you are a leader, who is a leader, really? The leader, you are the one who will look out for the resources to make sure, and you can talk to someone or encourage someone to even do something that they didn't even want to do in the first place. If you're a leader, you bring people who are knowledgeable to do the things that need done. It doesn't mean you have to do it.
You delegate.
But if you delegate to the right people, then you are leading.
Yes.
Because if you are leading and no one is following you, basically you're just taking a walk. You are not leading.
Yeah.
You know, there was this guy who had said, told his wife after being to church, you know, he had not been to church for years, and then he went to church one day, and the preaching topic had to talk about submission and all of that. He came home and said, you know, I'm the leader of this house. You have to submit to me. I'm the leader, you are nothing. And this lady, being wise, just said, I understand, you are the leader, but you are the leader of nothing. Because you are nothing. Yeah. So you are the leader of nothing. So what are you leading? Okay. So you submit to one another. Let me move on to the idea of maybe the woman taking over. Again, it hinges mostly on communication. My wife has a master's degree. We didn't pay for all that fees so that she can just come home and sit because I'm the leader. So women are very, very wise. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised some of the things, the way they look at things and the way they address it. They see it from their point of view. The man may see it differently. And so one thing that my wife and we have done over the years is, if we have to do something and we have different views, she will want us to do it this way, I want it to be done that way. That's a potential conflict point. What we do is, we just, if it's something that can wait, we can let it stay for about a month without taking any action. And then we will go back to it again. Which means at that point, things may have changed, perceptions may have changed, maybe additional facts have been made known, and then we can make an informed decision. But if it's something that requires immediate decision, and she has a different view and I have a different view, you know what she will say is, honey, you are the spiritual head of the house. I will support you, and then you make the decision that you think is appropriate for the family. Then I can make that decision right there and then because it has to be made. But days later, if I find out that the decision that I made isn't working, I will be the one to approach her and just say, honey, you know, this thing isn't working or going the way we think it would have. So why don't we try your approach also? You see, it's communication. Both of you have to come to the understanding that, like Danobe said, I'm not too good in finances. You have a master's degree in finance. What are we doing that with? You handle the man, because I know you are handling it, and you know that we have discussed for you to handle it. You are not really taking over. Now, if you are even taking over, when the Bible talks about being the head of the house, it's like you are the front man. If arrows are being shot in the way of the family, you are the one that is coming at you. So you are the protector, and you are guiding the family and also guiding the next generation. Because when your kids grow up and they leave, they are going to form their own families as well. So submission is a two-way street, and then taking care of the things that you do best. I would say that is an indication that you have a good
Can you
leader.
switch microphones? I heard that they can't hear you so much. I don't know what's. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so you know, when your wife is doing very well, doing a lot for the family and really doing it the way it's supposed to be done, it doesn't mean you have neglected your duties. There are other things that you are taking care of as well. Okay, so for me, if the wife is doing all these things and doing it well without complaint or anything like that, that's an indication of a good leader. That means the leader in the house is really doing his job because he's delegating. And that goes not just to your wife, but to the children as they grow. You leave other things for them to handle in the family. So it's just leadership. Let me hold it off here.
Perfect. No, this is great because I think everything that we are discussing, it boils down to actually communication. I think, I mean, even though we're discussing this, we still around that. It's still about the man's ego, right? Because if you're doing something, you're not telling the man, then it becomes a problem. Because they are the leader, we need to communicate. So we're talking about just making sure that we're communicating. There's been some comments on YouTube, not questions. But I know our brother Charles Edu says, not all of them. Thank you, gentlemen. I don't know which one they were referring to, but we should have. And then Miss Priscilla says, that was great, Edo. She also mentioned, yes, enjoy each other. And then she also said, are you sure it's just talking, Kwabena? I don't know which one she was referring to. And then
Be specific with their content.
no, I guess we should have looked at it whilst they were putting it so that it would make sense. Now, our brother Forsen says, anytime they mention their wife's name, it's good news. They are very smart. So, and then our sister Gloria Marfa says that was deep. So they really loving what you know what we are talking about. So that's amazing.
I think just to add to the what we're talking about I think it comes down to communication being the main thing, right? And being partners in what you're doing. Like they've mentioned before, you being a leader doesn't mean you have to do it all.
Correct.
A good leader delegates and find the right people to do the job. I'm the leader. You guys do all the work.
Yeah.
I take credit for it.
You're leading.
You know, I'm leading, you know, so I'm leading by finding the right people. Like Elder Usu Setra said, if you're a manager, if you're a director, you are seen as a good manager, a good director at your job. When you have found the right people to do the job so that, you know, it's not slacking, because when management from an up level comes and look at you, you have the right people doing the job. It doesn't necessarily mean that you went into every lower position and did the job.
Yeah.
And so we need to look at it in the same way when we come to the home. Because you are the leader doesn't mean that you have to be the one to do every single thing.
Correct.
Find the right people to do the job. In this case, if before you have kids, it's between the two of you and your wife. You decide who is good at what and delegate it as such. When the kids come in, they start picking up some of the stuff. Caleb takes out the trash.
Macho man.
Yeah, macho man. He takes out the trash.
No, I love when Doc did mention that my wife did not get a master's degree just to come and sit home. You know, so we are now telling the women that, hey, if you are good at something, the men are saying that even though they have a big ego, speak out and say, I'm good at this, let me do this, let me pick this up, and I believe you men will be okay. Is that correct? Communication. Okay.
Ego is when you're not confident. Your ego is struck very easily when you're not confident. When you are confident in yourself and what you do, your ego is not struck because somebody is, you know, doing something. I know what I'm good at. So when I see
the
you
man that mentioned something about, oh, I'm the man of the house, you have to submit. Any ego.
Yes. because guess what? Because he's not confident in who he is and what his abilities are.
Yeah.
So when he sees his wife doing something, he's scared that his wife is gonna take over. Because he feels like, oh, if you know who you are and what you are capable of doing.
But remember, we talked about change. We talked about change.
Yes.
A while, because if Doc, if you can correct me, back home, we were used to just women just doing certain things, just staying home, and the men taking over and doing a whole lot of stuff. Like the man will have to be the one to go to work, make the money. It's different now.
Exactly.
Your wife's works now.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
So the change that we were talking about, adapting to change and be willing to change, very important. Sorry, you were about to say something.
Yeah, like what I was saying was leadership now is not about what it used to be. Now it's more about servant leadership. where you have to be part of what the woman is doing. You have to also submit yourself. As Daddy said, submission is two ways. You also have to submit to help the woman in whatever she's doing. It's not, this is your point, this is your position, this is what you are supposed to do. You, the man, also have to come in and support. You said you cook very good. I'm not like that. I don't know how to cook. Do with my yam and something little.
Small stew there, you'll
my
be
small
able.
stew I can do it, but I don't know how to cook. But if the woman is cooking,
Wash
I
the
wouldn't
dishes.
have any problem being there, doing one or two stuff for
Doing the
her,
dishes,
Chop,
something.
washing the dishes,
And-
chop the onions, you know, something.
Yes.
And the other
So-
corner,
So it's also a way of proving that I'm being supportive of what you are doing. I'm not allowing you just leaving everything to yourself. So I think that is also one leadership style, helping with whatever activity that is going on in the house. Or yeah, anyway.
And then also, if you're a man and you want to have a successful relationship, marriage, and you have a big ego, you have to learn to keep your ego in check.
Oh yes.
Because it's like all of us are saying, times have changed. You meet your spouse, she's coming in already fulfilled pretty much. I mean, she's independent, she's gone to school, she has a PhD, she's a doctor, she's a pharmacist, whatever it is. So she's coming in not as the old times where the man has to necessarily provide everything financially for her. So if you get into a relationship with her, you have to learn to keep your ego in check, which means that she's been independent before she met you. You know, men have to understand that she's been independent before she met you. So it may take some getting used to for her to, you know, sometimes, you know, stay back and let you kind of do certain things. So that's where communication we've been talking about. That's where understanding comes in. The two of you have to talk. And then keep your ego in check. Times have changed. Women are doing it all. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Women are doing it all. I mean, I personally wouldn't mind if my wife is successful, you know, good education,
Exactly.
paying the bills. I'm happy because
I'd love to
her-
be a stay-home dad.
Yeah, no, seriously, because her finances.
Dog, times have
is the
changed
whole
though.
Oh
family.
yeah, you know.
Once you
Hey,
marry, you
Erisi,
become
go to
one.
school, make more money so that I can retire and stay home
Once you
and be a
marry,
stay-home dad.
the
you
two
know?
of you become one.
Yeah.
So her success is your
It's your
success.
success.
Her money is your money. So I mean,
Let me ask this question, then our co-host will take over, because if I don't ask this question, it came up when we were interviewing with the ladies. There is something about men that we kind of don't want to approach a successful woman. Let me put that on you. Because, I mean, anybody can chime in, but there is this thing that we are kind of afraid to approach a successful woman because they are more successful than us. We're talking about maybe money or education or something. There is something that we kind of, you know, hesitate to say, oh, this person there, they are a doctor. I don't even know what to say or something. Let's do 30 seconds just to address that to the woman.
Well, for me, that's what I want. Because you know, knowing that you can tell that the person has a lot to bring on the table. So, like, if you are successful, it's a plus for me. you know?
Okay.
Yes, and it doesn't scare me, or I don't think it scares anyone, or does it?
No, it does.
Really?
Well,
It
for
does.
those people that the success
I think it has the
scares,
confidence.
those people are really not good investors.
Okay.
If you really dig down into their financial portfolio, you find out that they are not investing in anything. Now, she's coming in. Now, let's look at it this way. When you pick up the lady after, you know, the wedding and going to the reception, taking the pictures, not only are you picking her as an individual, you are carrying her burden as well. The hurt that she has been throughout her life, the abuse that she has gone through, all of those things, you are picking that up. And so if she happens to be so successful, that will help the marriage and then later on the entire family, the children, to be able to move forward faster. Why are you afraid?
It's a plus.
Oh, okay. Any of the panelists, have you experienced that? Because
So-
I know you guys will say you're not afraid to approach, but of course, some of the single woman said, they don't see the men coming because they are successful. You know, why are the men not coming? That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes you don't even know how successful the person is.
Oh no!
So
this,
you're
you're
right.
right.
in a society where you actually know the person. So this is my analogy.
So let's say
right?
you are in a church. You know this single lady is, you know, Sister Megan is a doctor, and the men are not coming because she's a doctor. They're scared.
They're scared,
Why?
right. So this is my take on some of those things, right? You are starting at zero, okay? Before you talk to the person, you don't have hair. There's nothing. You have nothing to lose to start off with, but you have a 50-50 chance when you talk to her.
By making
So-
the step.
By making the step, there's a 50-50 chance that she would actually respond to you and talk to you.
Okay.
If you stay here, you are at zero.
Yeah.
So if you go and she says no, you didn't lose anything. You are at zero anyway to start off with. You started from zero. So if you go and she says no,
So the rejection doesn't bother you guys.
so what?
Hey.
No, so understand this. That's why I'm saying that, you know, your ego is your confidence. You know who you are, right? She is successful today, which is great. You're happy, but you are on your way,
Yeah.
right? She's a doctor today because of circumstances. You are still on your way because of circumstances, right? You know, so there are things, everybody goes through life differently. This race is different for everybody. Maybe, you know, let's put myself in the case. You were born here, you know, so you got to go through school very quickly. 23, you got done with college. You got done with your master's by 25. By 27, you probably had your PhD and you're all there already. I came from Ghana, mediating Ghana FM's having a myriad JSS. You know, so you're already behind. So by the time you get here and you have to go through all that steps, by the time she is 27, she's, you know, she went through all school and she got her PhD. 27, you probably, now you are trying to finish your bachelor's or your master's. So yeah, because of circumstances and situations, that's why she is there. But guess what? When you get close to her, you might even learn how to get to her level. If not for anything, if not to even be a relationship or anything, she might give you some steps that will help you get to her level.
Yeah.
Take the chance. What is that to
I
lose?
I just want to make sure you guys never experienced that. You didn't have a problem approaching somebody that was successful. Nothing came in your mind that, oh, they are too up there, so I cannot approach her, or I'm afraid of rejection. Because the women want to know. I mean, it's the women.
Okay, let me make a comment
Yeah.
on this. What you are saying is real.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
generally what has been the pattern is when a man is going to look out for a woman to marry.
Exactly.
And then I'm saying it this way because in our culture it's the man who goes out to get a wife.
Correct.
Okay. You tend to look for someone, quote unquote, that you can take care of. So when they come to a lady who is a medical doctor, a PhD, or in a successful business or what have you, some people do hesitate.
Okay.
But the hesitation becomes more, especially so when, depending upon how the woman presents herself. You know, how she comports herself, how she talks to people, and how she acts. If you have a lady, and here I'm using it loosely, who, because of her education, is looking down on people, doesn't think she has to bring herself to a certain level to interact with other people, then of course nobody is going to come. And it's not because they are afraid of you.
Thank you
They
for
are
that.
afraid of what you will do to them.
Thank you.
That is why they stay back.
Absolutely. That's why I wanted to make sure, because the woman really wants to go ahead.
And then I wanted to add that, you know, if you are a man, also be ambitious, okay? So you don't necessarily have to be at the level of the woman that you're approaching. But just, you know, because it takes a lot for a marriage to succeed. So you also want to establish yourself in some way, as in, you know, you are either getting an education or doing something to bring something to the table. So then that also builds your confidence, because you know, a confidence in a man is that, you know, I'm advancing myself in some way, either academically or business wise or something. So then that also boosts your confidence. So if you were a man out there and, you know, you are intimidated to talk to a woman who's successful in the thing that she does, then you're gonna have to look at yourself too and see why am I intimidated? Why am I finding it difficult to approach this person? Is it because I'm not ambitious? Is it because I don't think I'll bring anything to the table? So once you take that off the table and you also work on yourself, I think it'll make it easier to approach somebody, because then you can approach her with boldness, with confidence, and then like Elder said, what she can say is no, and then you move on.
Before we get to that, the women actually mentioned it also, that they really want the men to approach, and they actually wanted to know these questions. Why are the men not coming? Because they also mentioned that, we can help each other. We can, even if you feel like you're not on her level, she can help pull you up. And as we are mentioning, Doc mentioned maybe the men are scared because they are not good investors. You have a great thing. I like the way Sam said, this is what I want. This is what I want. Because if you see that somebody is at a bigger level, what is wrong with helping each other coming to the same level? Like we said, times have changed. Before you say that, I think you wanted to mention something.
Yeah, what I was
before
saying was, as a man, just intentionally make your pocket heavy.
That's easier said than
intentionally.
Just make your pocket heavy, and you're good to go.
Okay.
I think I want to piggyback off of what Doc ended with, that the way you present yourself as the successful woman actually also plays a big role in the person that will approach you, or making it easy for people to approach you. If they are saying that no man is approaching them, then you need to check yourself first again, because you cannot tell me that of all the people that are around, nobody has the confidence to approach you. It might be something that you are also doing, right? You need to check yourself as well.
No,
So what is it?
The women are okay. They're not
They are
okay.
No, but you want us to talk to them, right? So
Correct.
so my little piece of advice, after telling the men that they need to have the confidence to approach the woman, is also my little advice to you is that if nobody is coming, sit back, because you are the common denominator.
Okay.
And check yourself.
And check yourself.
Absolutely.
Is it because that now that you are a doctor, now that you are successful, you are making yourself so high that you are not even approachable? When you come to church, are you, sitting, the seat that you are sitting in such a way that nobody can even sit anywhere close to you? You know what I mean? But when you come to church, you are successful and everything else, and you are helping around, and you are, you're humbling yourself. So when somebody that doesn't even know you sees you, until somebody tells them, oh, this person is a doctor or something. And I've heard people say that before. Oh, wow, that's a doctor?
Exactly.
I'm surprised, because the person was so humble.
So
And then,
humble.
yeah, exactly. So when you are successful, when you humble yourself, your success becomes secondary. But when you are up there and your first tag is successful,
Yeah.
You may wear it for a long
time.
Go ahead, Sister Megan.
Okay, so we appreciate those tips. I thank you.
You're welcome.
So when it comes to approaching a person, does it matter if the person is attractive, or are you looking at the person's heart depending on their love for the Lord?
Attractive.
Yeah.
I cannot see their heart. So what I see, I just wanted to cut it short and just give you one answer.
No, I like it like that. You should have just said that.
Attractive.
Go ahead, Shadrach. What are you going to say? You two say it.
But watch the words carefully. He said attractive.
Correct.
He didn't say beautiful.
Okay.
Attractive, comes from, I think that's the adjective for
Yes.
attraction. There has to be something about that person that brings you closer to that individual. And at the end of the day, you find out that it's character. Yes, that is doing. So again, back to the same question as your degrees and your the way you are so successful. What really keeps people away from such women is character. The way they comport themselves, the way they react and act on certain things. So it's not so much the degree. Most of the time, you don't even know what degree she has. But her attitude will keep you away.
I mean, it's true because the first thing you see in a person is what you see. I mean, that's just so there's something that you see in the person. So there's something you see in the person before you approach the person. So it can be appearance. I mean, we're not saying appearance is not important. The way a person keeps themselves, both man and woman, the way you keep yourself, it can also draw somebody also in. So appearance is also very important for a man and a woman if you are looking for a mate. I mean, if you are unkept, and you don't necessarily keep up your appearance, that can also drive people away, regardless of the character.
And I wouldn't even, because you are unkept, I wouldn't even approach you to
you
know what is in there.
What is in there, yes.
So if you have a good character, that's great. But you also have to, put something out there to make yourself look good. I mean, not a model, but at least make yourself look good to attract, because men like what we see. And I think.
That is well said, because we like what men are sight beings, and women tends to
say your dog who ne wife and all.
Women tend to be touched, and then more of emotions. So
emotions that you have mentioned.
Most of the time we say, oh, I love her, that's why I approach. Really? You don't even know her middle name.
Exactly.
How can you love somebody you don't know?
Exactly.
Wait until you are married 5, 6, 7, 10 years into the marriage that she has waken up in the middle of the night without makeup and everything, and then come and tell me you love her. You have to love her in spite of certain things.
Absolutely.
So when you meet somebody first, for the men, it's what we see that attracts us to that individual. It's more of lust more so than love, because you don't know anything about the person to love. So what we see is what draws us.
So
to
those
the
things that they're talking about, love at first sight, in the bogus.
Oh no! How can you love something you don't know?
Not love.
Most of it is lust.
Yeah. I like the way Doc mentioned about women are emotional, because it's one of the things that women spoke about. And I'm drawing down to talk about sex, because women the woman wants to know, it's even why is sex so important to men? I mean, because
it's also important to the women.
they didn't say it's not important to them, but they're saying because they put in, it's more like it starts from somewhere. It's a gradual process for women. They don't just get up and have sex like men, because they're saying that even they can be upset and 2 minutes later the man wants to have sex. But that's why you mentioned emotional, because they put their heart to certain things because it matters to them. So what is it that goes on in men's head that makes you guys want to have sex 3 times a day and all of that stuff?
Go ahead. Well, I think we should just say this. Men,
Say for yourself. Speak
I
for
will say it for
yourself.
myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
say I, Shadrach.
That's fine. I'll say it for myself. Sex was made by God to enjoy between a husband and a wife. Okay.
Wow.
What's true?
I'm just kidding.
So like sex, I need sex. Well, he said I shouldn't say man. I need sex. Okay. If I want sex, I should go to my wife. If my wife wants sex, she should come to me. But it doesn't take much for a man to be aroused. For a woman, most things have to click. Okay? So emotionally, like what we're discussing, it takes a woman a certain level of connection for them to click. So if you are a man and you want sex from your wife, there are certain things that you have to do to get her there. Like, you don't expect to the two of you had a fight, you said some bad words to her, the argument hasn't settled, nobody, and then all of a sudden you want her to come to the bedroom. No. That's not how men work. A man can just switch off on and off like that. Women are not like that. So men need sex, but also to be able to enjoy sex with your wife, there's certain things that you have to do to get her there, okay? Emotionally, the way you help around the house, you can't expect your wife to be able to enjoy sex with you. After she's come home, she's tired, she has to take care of the kids, she has to cook, you don't help her around the house, you don't do any of those things, and then at night, of course she's going to tell you she's tired. So if you do your part as a husband, you help her out in the house, you do all the things that you're supposed to do, the two of you should make time, enjoy sex. God created it for a husband and a wife. Have fun with it. But I need sex, nobody needs sex. Let's just say it right there, okay?
All right,
Men
all
need
right.
sex.
No,
all
but
right.
he
So-
said
so-
talk for yourself. But
So,
go ahead.
I'm gonna. He just made me lose my shit. So yes, I believe we all need sex. But one of the things I want to go back to is we all talk about, we need to get them from the morning till the evening. Why do we have to wait till the evening? Well, that was one that, the women were like, if you have to start doing something in the morning, throughout the day before then the evening. Why we gotta wait all till the evening? So whenever you want to have sex, so are you saying that because I have to do all the things, then when it gets to the evening, that's when I get it? Then I'll get it in the morning so that I won't help you throughout the day. But no, they are emotional. Women are emotional beings. Men are logical beings. And so that's why we are able to go left and right. Like, it's a logical switch for us. It's an on and off switch. Mm-hmm. Women, it's a whole bunch of buttons. You got to click a whole bunch of them. So it's...
You don't know what you just said.
I know I'm about to get in trouble. So please, YouTube, please forgive me. But it is what we've come to understand, that a man can switch on and off. Like we said, a man can go from arguing with you and getting into a fight with you right now to, hey, this is my wife. She's walking around and in just her bra and underwear. I'm attracted by what I see. That's my wife. It's attractive to me. So I want to go have sex. But with her, it's like, dude, we just got in a fight. We've not even resolved the fight, and you are here. So that's why we're saying that we need, as men, we need to understand the situation. If you want to enjoy it, so the key word that we keep using is this: if you want to enjoy sex with your wife, if you want to enjoy sex, then you will have to go through these emotions, especially if you want to enjoy sex with your wife, because there have been times where you are angry, and there are women that are they love you, they are submissive to you, and because of the word of God, when you go to them, you want to have sex, you are gonna have sex. You probably will not enjoy it. She will probably not enjoy it. But at the end of the day, you had sex. Mm-hmm. But if you want to have an intimate sex where there's a connection that will actually bring you, both of you, joy and bring you together well, then you have to look at the emotional things about her to be able to take care of it. That way, when both of you are doing it, it's an enjoyable thing for both parties and not just one side.
So I hear you guys talking to the man. I want you to talk to the women. I hear you saying, guys, if you want to enjoy sex, no. Mm-hmm. The women are saying, no matter what, the man wants to have sex. What are you telling the woman? That, okay, so I can switch my button on and off, so when I come, just give me sex, or what is it? I just want you to speak to the woman.
Okay. The woman also have to understand that your husband is going to come to you.
Okay.
I mean, just understand that, because that's his wife. So yes, it's entirely possible that the fight haven't resolved. It's entirely possible that things haven't resolved. But just understand that he's going to come to you. Now, you can refuse him and just say, you know what, I'm not in the mood or whatever it is. But no, seriously, they have to understand that the man is going to come to you naturally, because you are the wife. Mm-hmm. So and I know you don't want him to obviously go outside. So you want him to come to you if he needs sex from you. Mm-hmm. So the women have to understand that the man is going to come to you. Now, if they come to you and let's say the time is not right, the two of you haven't settled, the argument, or maybe you are tired or whatever it is, that's fine. You can talk it out, you can work on it, but don't let the woman have to make sex a priority also. And then it doesn't have to be where sex puts on the back burner. It's like the kids, everybody gets tired with the kids and everything, and before you realize you've gone a long time and the two of you haven't been intimate in any way. That also can destroy the fabric of the bond that the two of you have as a husband and wife. So time also have to be made. It can't be always I'm tired. That's
Sam,
just
why are you nodding? Why is Sam nodding?
No, he's learning. He's
Oh,
learning.
oh,
Yeah, he's learning.
learning a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So
But
can't be
if you think your wife is saying I'm tired all the time, don't you think they are really tired?
Yeah, there's something.
that's what I just said. No. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
That the man has to help her out.
I got you.
You
Okay.
see, so if she comes home, listen, if your wife comes home
Mm-hmm.
and you've taken care of the house, because she's been at work all day, you've been home all day, you've cleaned the house, you've done what
Mm-hmm.
you can, you've taken care of the kids, you've done, and then it's a surprise. She comes home and then things are done. She doesn't have to work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, that alone can even get her even excited, because it's like, oh wow, honey, thank you. So if you are doing your part to help her out, then obviously it's not like every day or every time she's going to say I'm tired.
Gotcha.
But if you don't do your part to help her out in the house, if you don't support her, of course if you go to her, she's going to say I'm tired. I mean, she's tired, because you can't expect her to do the same job you are doing, go to work 12 hours, work the same job, come home and do everything, and then also
And do
you want her
overtime.
to come at night.
Let me hear from Doc.
Let me give you a little secret.
Oh, we need it.
It's not always that when they say I'm tired, it's because they are tired.
Sam, is that from experience or just?
No, he's learning. He's learning.
Take something from what you were saying. Like, always I'm tired, there might be something wrong somewhere.
Okay.
I was watching a movie, and this guy and his wife, and then the TV flipped, and then she asked him, "Are you done?" And I said, "Oh yeah," and I think I'm really, really satisfied. And the woman said, "I was just about to, get in the mood." Sometimes, I think it was this man, I remember the name and I'll mention it, who said, when you have the football on the park, and before you can pass it to another person, it's already offside, who will want to play with you? So it's one of the things that men need to know is mind over matter. There are some things that we need to be able to control. She is into it, and then within the first 30 seconds, you are immobilized. You can't do a thing, and then you fall asleep. And the worst thing is then you begin to snore whilst she is just lying there looking at the ceiling. So sometimes, of course, next time when you come, she will tell you she's tired.
That's true.
So it's
But
not
she was
always
not enjo- she's
because
not
sometimes,
enjoying
yes,
it. Okay.
it's self-introspection. Sometimes we, the men, we have to know that you have a partner, someone you are intimate with, and you are supposed to meet her needs. So if we don't meet their needs and we go in for just our need because my need is met, I'm happy, we won't have any good and intimate relationship in the house. So if lately your wife has been saying, I'm tired, and that also can...
Then check yourself.
Check yourself out. And also the women, please, if things are not going the way you think it should go, he's your husband. Speak up. Talk to him in a nice way. Encourage him. Help him. Tell him, honey, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for you. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. It's not like you are stealing something and you want to steal it and run away with it. So you build that confidence in him. It's not, those days are over where before you can become intimate with your wife, you have to get a big pillow or maybe a blanket or whatever and cover yourself. No, those days are over. Those days are over. Look, my kids
Robert, you still do that,
Look, when you have
the big blanket.
when you have kids at home, there are certain things you can only do during the night, and I think that's one of the reasons why we keep
we're
saying
pointing
that.
tonight.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have to put the
Yes.
kids to sleep because you don't want to scar them, and some of these things, unfortunately, if they ever walk on you, you know, it will scar them for a long time to
Absolutely.
come. So in a situation like that, the best thing would be just employ the services of someone just to come and watch the kids at least one weekend. And you and your wife go to a hotel. It doesn't matter how cheap the hotel is. Just get away and then go there and enjoy yourself. But back to my original thing, the men, maybe this is something that unfortunately we didn't get from our parents, not our fathers, not our mothers. But there's too much rush when you get to that area. And I think men need to know that. Because, you know, when you think you have had an intimate relationship with your wife, you think that she should be going down to get you a Kool-Aid or iced tea with ice in it, and she's there frowning, with her face frown, all because you enjoyed it. So tough luck. So we need to learn, and then we need to make sure that it's something that both of us have to enjoy, not just you.
I think there's a deep topic that needs to be taken up, you know, on a different day.
That means
That-
sex is really important to
Oh
to
yeah,
men.
Doc is, you know, Doc is hitting on some serious stuff here that I think, you know, he's speaking in parables, but I believe a lot of us do understand what he's saying. So,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. We really come, you know, down to the stretch here, but go ahead.
We want to hear from your co-host.
Yeah, I was
So,
going
you
to
know, yeah,
present it to
co-host.
her in a second. I think I have some comments that I was trying to look at. Okay, go ahead, Sister Megan.
What comments did you want to hear from me?
You know, I don't want to hear any comments. We've said a lot, you know,
Okay.
from a man's perspective, right? So with everything that we've said so far, you know, we are speaking to ladies.
No,
And you're here.
we don't want her to respond. She's a host, so she asks questions. She doesn't. She asks questions.
You don't
She
wanna
doesn't.
put-
No,
you know.
I don't want her to give perspective on women because we're having this show. The next one we want to have the men and the women together. Then we can actually discuss with the women. So whilst we are all here. So we will get to experience that.
Okay.
Because I don't want to put your host, your co-host, on the spot for her to talk about some of these things. But let's say you have any specific questions for them. Questions you can ask them, but don't answer them.
Because I was gonna start asking you questions since you're not asking any.
Yeah.
Let's see. Come back to me. I have it cooking in my mind.
You have so we did. I mean, I think we're really learning a lot. Especially we are talking about, you know, we call it the evening hours, like Doc said, because maybe if kids come in, you want to make sure that, you know, they are asleep and everything. Definitely, the women also discuss what you guys are talking about in terms of help me out in the house so I can gather energy to also enjoy. I love the way that is brought up that we shouldn't just think as men that I just want to go and me enjoy and that's it, and not thinking about my wife also enjoying because she also have her needs. So that 30 seconds and the 2 minutes.
Don't rush it. Take your time.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely. So it's something that is intimate and you know, making sure you know, we you know, everybody enjoys. I can't really. I'm trying to make sense out of these comments, but I don't know why Mr. Forson is saying, Deacon Moses, you have to sit on the hot seat one of these days instead of being the host. Good job, man. Great discussion.
I think it's not a bad idea. We'll move you over to the seat one of those days so we can question you. you know?
Be careful what you wish for. But
Yeah.
I think Mama Ya is saying something about glad. That's what you think. As I said, I'm trying to. The comment is not making sense to me, but that's fine. We coming in the home stretch now. We just want to make sure that we are really speaking to our ladies. Again, we're trying to improve relationship between men and women. They want to see the man succeed. They want to see the man being the head. They want to see the man, you know, leading, acting, delegating, and trusting on the woman that, hey, you are trusting on the woman that they can do the things that you are entrusting them to do as well. They want to find out what makes you as a man fulfilled. Because you're telling them, this makes me fulfilled, so that they can also enjoy this fulfillment with you. They can also help make you fulfilled. They want to see you happy, not come home frowning your face and hiding from the kids or going to sleep right away and stuff like that. What comes in mind as when we talk about, you know, you as an individual being fulfilled?
Well, for me, it doesn't take much to make me fulfilled. You know, I don't know, but it's not about sex, man. Come on. No,
Are you sure?
No, it's like to have a wife, you know, who loves and appreciates you, to have a wife who you can build a life with, you know, to have a wife that I have who's a wonderful mother to our children. Like, once you have that support as a man, like, I mean, you feel like you're on top of the world. So it's a man's, you know, it's like I said, I'm talking in terms of me. It doesn't take like a list of things to make me fulfilled. I go home, I'm happy, you know, I'm in a home, I have the love of a beautiful, wonderful, God-fearing woman. I have 2 beautiful kids, you know, I'm happy. Like, I actually look forward to going home, you know. You know, it's respect, love, appreciation, you know, not worry about the little things. Some time ago, Elder Doctor was talking about, don't argue about the little things. Because this is the person that I said I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. So you have to learn to overlook things which are not going to benefit you in any way. Don't argue about things that are not going to help you in any way. So, you know, just a peaceful home. I go home to a peaceful home. I have my peace of mind. You know, there's no quarrel, no, you know, nothing. Like, I'm happy. So, you know, love, respect, appreciation of my wife, my family. You know, I'm good.
Yeah. Before we continue, I think I see what Mama Yak's comment was. I didn't look at the bottom. It says, like we've been saying, she said, this is what I was saying, what we need to know as women, not what you guys want. You know, so, you know, they're really listening. They're listening to you guys. So it's very important to them that we are really speaking to the ladies. So I love what you are saying, but I want you to really pinpoint it to the women that if you do this, it will help me for being fulfilled and stuff like that. And I think it will really help our women, you know, improve our relationship and have them. I mean, how amazing is this for our women to love us?
It's great.
Peace of mind, like you mentioned. You get home, you don't have to quarrel.
You're happy, you know, you're happy. Her love is there, you know, her appreciation. You know, she's wonderful, she's great. You know, the 2 of you are friends. You have to be friends with your wife.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very important. The 2 of you should go to laugh together, joke together, cry. I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah. There was this guy that when they got married, the first time the wife farted. I mean, the husband farted. The woman was like, ew, what is this? But man is regular.
Yeah, normal.
All right.
Men alone.
You know, he's saying it in terms that, you know,
It be much, yo.
yeah, it's not, tough luck. Like it is what it is. You know, like a man would just do it and move on. But for a woman, it was, you know, like she said that because she felt like, why would you do that in front of me? Or I rather, you know, go to the bathroom and go do it or something like that. But
Or
for a
the
man, it's
woman
like,
will probably do the silent killer.
Not even silent. She would do it and be laughing.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Times have changed.
Oh, yeah.
if you cannot lose your guard before your wife or your husband, then there's something wrong with
Absolutely.
the marriage. You should be able to walk butt naked in the house.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
only the two of you, if you feel like doing that, and should not be ashamed.
Absolutely.
You know, and I like what our brother said. He looks forward to going home. Now, when you arrive at that point, I don't think anything that needs to be said, because the home is good.
Yes.
The home is where, after the world has beaten you up, you can go home and relax and enjoy, you know, in the arms of someone who loves you. So I think that in itself answers a whole lot of questions. Now, one thing I will maybe want to tell our viewers, particularly the women, the young women, and those who are married, one of these days, just ask your husband, just when only the two of you are there, just ask him, are you happy? Are you happy? And listen to the answers that he gives you, because therein will lie the clue of some of the things that you do that he has not said it, but is eating him up. If you want to see him fully fulfilled, just ask him, are you happy? And listen to what he has to say.
Are we going to be truthful?
And that's what I was going to say. That before you ask the question, you have to be ready. No, you have to be ready to hear the answer and accept the answer that the person is going to give.
Yes, and if you are in a relationship that there is no trust, remember what I was saying, relationship are built on trust.
Yes.
If there is no trust, you don't have a relationship. You are just, you know, getting rid of fires as they appear, and you continue to do that until you die. But how marvelous it is that when you go out and then you are happy to be going back home. When I was leaving, my wife was not at home. She had left for the store. But I'm almost 100% certain that by the time I get home, whatever I need will be ready for me. And so, sure, I long to go home. And in our situation, it's even unique, well, for us, because all the kids are grown and gone. And we have the house to ourselves. You know, so why would I spend time on the unimportant things and waste our times? At my age, I know I'm not going to live another 66 years on this earth. What is ahead of me, like our parents used to tell us, is much shorter than the years that are behind me. Why would I waste my time on the non-essentials? At the end of the day, if you ask, no matter how rich an individual may have been, at the time of their death, the only thing that most of them will tell you is, I didn't spend enough time with my loved ones. Not the businesses, not the money, not the cars. At the end of the day, they talk about the relationship. And I mean, if you talk about life, everything is relationship, really. Right from Adam and Eve, it's relationship. Their relationship and their relationship with God. Our relationship with our wives, our sisters, our mothers, our uncles, everything about life is about relationships. So if you don't know how to maintain relationships, you can be in troubled times. Because guess what? Even after you have caused trouble and you need someone to help you to apologize, you are going to relate to somebody you know whom you think will be able to help you. So this relationship thing is very, very important, not just for the family, but as a human person. We need to master some of these things that will help thrive the relationships that we find ourselves in.
God bless you. Before we go, I really thought it was going to be our last question, but now questions are coming up on YouTube. I was like, but just a heads up, we've spent 2 hours already.
Really?
I know, but it feels like 30 minutes. But let me ask these questions. Of course, I don't know. It's one of your daughters, Doc. But that is another Dr. Andrea Owusu-Sechire. She has a question for the married man. Is there anything you looked for in a spouse before you were married that turned out not to be as important as you once thought? That's a good question.
Interesting. And it's very deep.
Very deep. I mean, I'm sitting here reading it like, okay. Look at them scratching.
Well, let me say this. I'm thrilled that you were saying it's coming from my daughter. So at least I know I did something right. for her to be asking such a question.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I did something right. But it is a deep question. Some of the things that, and I'm going to be general here, and I'm doing that on purpose. Some of the things that, particularly with men, I remember, let me start it this way quickly. When we were growing up, there was this candy at home called Cascade. I don't know if any of you grew up to see it. Very, very tasty. And so what I said to myself is, when I grow up and when I have my own house and I have a job, I'm going to buy Cascade in the biggest bottle there is, and I'm just going to sit and then eat and enjoy it. Lo and behold, I got a job, I moved, and I had the money, the means to be able to get. But then Cascade was not the real thing, in a sense. When you are young and you are thinking about marriage, I can bet you 90% of the time you are thinking about sex. Boy, once I'm married, now I have the license, now I have the freedom. Well, don't rush it, because there are down times. We talked about men are like switch, you turn it on and turn. There will be at times that the turning on and the turning off. You may need to change the switch. So you have this ambition. I'm going to take care of my wife. I'm going to take care of my home. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do. And then reality hits, and you realize that some of the things that you think you wanted to do as a husband, you cannot do it. What do you do then? And this has happened in a number of different forms. Number one, you thought you are the Superman, but then you realize that you have your own kryptonite and it's hanging on your door waiting for you, so you can't perform. You may think about the money issue. I'll buy this, I'll buy that, I'll make sure that the things that I never got as a child, I'll make sure I shower it on my children. And here you are sitting unemployed and you can't do it. So you can look at a number of different areas that there are things that you think about now that you cannot do it. But you still have to take heart. We all have our limitations. If it is if you are not able to provide a certain thing, because there will be some things that you'll be able to do, you need to, you don't have to set your mind on just one thing. You have to be flexible and then be able to do some of the things. So, in direct answer to a question, yes, there are things that, we say you meet a woman and you love the woman and what have you. The marriage really begins after the reception, when you go home. That's when you really marry. There was this gentleman who was a friend of the family, and he went out. He said he had a date, and he met this woman, beautiful woman, and wanted to go out with her again. So he came to our house, just right here in Baltimore. Came to our house, and then went over to pick up the lady. Within about 10 minutes, he was back. and so we were wondering whether maybe she was not there. And so we were wondering what happened. And what he said was, the woman that I saw is not the woman that I saw yesterday. That showed up. Because after she had put down, the extensions, she looked so very different. So basically, when the marriage begins, when the troubles begin to come, that's when you find out that you are limited.
Absolutely.
But by then you have already committed yourself. And it's not the fault of the woman or the fault of the other spouse. Right. It's just because we as humans, we are limited. There are certain things that are beyond our control. And when you find out that, hey, I cannot do this, that probably is the time that you talk to your spouse to see what he or she can do in arresting that situation. So you move together as one. Absolutely. So yeah, there are things you promise yourself, but then you realize that you did the promising and you can unpromise yourself as well.
Are you guys done scratching your head and stuff? Did you think about something?
Yeah. I remember I was young, it's like I was always told, if you're looking for a spouse, find a wife who can cook. Like I was, I saw that a lot, I heard that a lot. But then after I got married, like, you know, as I was growing up and as I became mature and understanding, I realized that, you know, it's not really that important if the man knows how to cook. So I came to a realization that because I can cook, I know how to cook. So if I have a wife who's not cooking all the time, it doesn't bother me because I know how to do it. So that alone, you know, as I was growing up, as I was looking for a spouse, I didn't make that my focus anymore because I know how to cook, I know how to do certain things. So there were some of these, you know, ideas that, you know, were taught as a child, you know, you have to look for in certain things. But as you grow up and you see how things have changed now, men can do everything, women can do everything. It doesn't seem as important or as you look for the character more than the, you know, the cooking and all those things, you know, because you can fill in the gaps in those areas.
Yeah, these days Google will help you. You can Google and find out how to make certain dishes and follow the steps. It may not taste as good as your mom's, but at least it will become eatable and you'll be able to.
You cooked it, you eating it, is your stomach.
You to university.
That's right.
Did you think about something that you might have thought before marriage and after that you were looked for? I mean, or we can move on. We have other questions.
I can just throw a little bit on that. So I grew up in a single home. So my mom was superwoman. So I went into marriage assuming that my wife is gonna be superwoman, right? But I quickly learned that I need to build my own normal, right? So switch things around, thinking that, you know what, yeah, she was the only one. I was the only child too. So it was just one. At least she was superwoman, but then I was just one. We have 4. So I can't expect her
So now
to
you
be
need 4 superwomans.
exactly in one. So in one. So that is something that, you know what, you know, I quickly kind of just switched over from that and realized that it's as much as I thought this was gonna be so important that she has to be this way or be able to do these things, it's not feasible. Right? And so my normal became a different normal from what I grew up, you know, knowing.
Okay, let me ask this question, and this is from, so I don't know the name. It says Mouse 1118. So it says, this is just assuming that all men have insecurities. It says, how do men deal with their insecurities? Also, are they expecting women to support them in dealing with or addressing those insecurities? This is a woman asking this, so it's important that we speak to the woman.
So yes, I believe everybody have insecurities. Every human being, you do have some type of insecurities. Once you identify what they are, that's 50% of the solution right there. Once you identify it and you know that, hey, these are my insecurities, these are my weaknesses, you know, so you allow your partner to be able to help you with those insecurities. And that's what Dak was saying before, that you need to be able to be vulnerable in front of your partner, knowing that that person will not use that against you. It makes it easy for you to deal with it. It makes it easy for you to handle it and, you know, just be okay with it. But when you feel like that person, so what I'm saying to the woman is that when you, the woman, identify the insecurities in the man or your man, don't use it as a weapon against them, but rather be the support that will help them out of that insecurity that they are in.
Amazing. One more, should I ask the next question? I mean, our sister Gloria Brefi followed up and said sometimes they won't say the truth when you ask them some questions.
Because you don't really want to know the truth.
Oh.
No, so that's why when Dak, that's when Dak said,
put it this way: if your husband were to tell you every secret that he ever had and can remember, if he tells you all that, will you still wake up the next morning and say, "How you doing, honey?" If that will not change your demeanor, if that will not change your perception about him, then you have a great relationship, because he can feel vulnerable and then let his guard down, because he knows that even if he's unable to lift up his head, he has a wife who will support him. And then that brings the same issue again. Let's say a week later, if you have a heated argument and you refer to what he told you, you are effectively shutting him up.
Yeah.
And he will not speak the next time you want him to speak.
All right. Let me ask this question. Very important question from our own mouse, 118. Is there any difference between happiness and peace? Are they one and the same for man? When it comes to man, is there a difference between being happy or being at peace? This is deep.
Well, happiness, you can make yourself happy,
Yes.
but your peace depends also in part on someone else's doing their job. I can choose to be happy,
Yes.
so I'm happy. I decide to spend money, then I spend, and then I go home and go to bed.
So
But
can I tie it to, let's say, coming home to a peaceful home? You
Yes.
can be at work and be happy individually.
at work with
At
your
work, you are
coworkers
happy.
and enjoy your job.
But you can come home and not have peace.
And if you don't have peace,
Okay.
then you are in trouble because your happiness is just but short-lived. As soon as you get into the environment or the domain that you want peace but you don't have, all your happiness will go out of the window. So to start off, peace is totally different from happiness. You can be very peaceful and not happy.
Oh.
Oh yeah, and you can be happy and not have
not
any
have
peace.
peace.
But the man who is happy and has peace, he's the Superman.
Fulfilled.
Fulfilled.
I think Sam's eyes and brain is clicking. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
yes.
Ask your question.
You know what Daddy was saying was, you can be happy and not be peaceful.
Yes.
And
not have to
at
have
another
peace.
point, you can have peace and not be happy. But I was also thinking about it from this angle that happiness is kind of a subset of peace. Peace being the
Overarching
yeah,
umbrella.
the umbrella. Because if you don't have peace at home, in my opinion, it will affect most of the areas of your life. Even if you go to work, if you don't have peace at home, it will change your attitude towards work, even with the relationship that you have with your co-workers.
True, but
Let me give you this example.
Yeah.
There could not be peace at home, but sometimes the guys we meet and play cards, the happiness
Yes.
that comes from that.
So
And you know why? Because they are getting what they are not getting at home. So
Correct.
when they come out, they can express themselves.
Yes.
But I bet you when it's time to go home,
home.
it won't be like what he was saying.
Yeah.
So
that they
wh-
are longing to go
go
home.
home. You enjoy your job. You love your job, right? So you are eager to leave home and go to work. Because when you are there and you are doing what you love, it makes you happy. And so you are happy, but you are not at peace. And then when it's time for you to get off at 5:30, you begin to think about the extra things that you can do so you can stay till 8. And then they start turning off the lights on you and you have to go home. And then once you start driving to go home, the happiness that you had, so your happiness is only situational and just, based off of certain things. It's not always happy. The environment you're in creates that happiness for you. But once you leave that environment, you don't have peace. But when I think that Doc said you can have peace and not be happy. That's where, maybe I want to differ a little bit, because I'm assuming that when you have so much peace, when you have peace at home, when you have peace at work, when you have peace all around you,
You are automatically happy.
it's not automatically, but then it comes up, kind of brings, it makes you a little happy. Not even if it's not 100% happy, it makes you just a little happy.
Peace can contribute to
To
your
happiness.
Okay, but people also have to understand the only person in the world who's responsible for your happiness is you.
That's right. You can choose to be happy.
You can't put 100% of your happiness on your spouse. That if you don't do this to me, I'm not going to be happy. You can choose the way you react to any situation. You have no control over the situation, but you can choose the way that you react. So the same way you can choose your happiness. So peace can contribute to the happiness that you have, but happiness, the main responsible person of your happiness is you. the way you respond to situations at home, the way you respond to certain things, the character that God has given you, that you pray, and then God gives you that character you build. You can respond to any situation and find happiness in that, even though it's not necessarily giving you peace. But what you don't want is to go home to a non-peaceful house. Like if your house is not peaceful, I mean, if a woman says, I'm going to not make you, I'm not going to give you peace of mind, they will really not give you peace of mind. And that's what you don't want.
So you don't want to
I
get to
I
that.
think it also, like, it boils down to each one of us. Is like, since we are very different in our own ways, because in my opinion, for me, if my peace is tempered with, no matter the environment I find myself, I will not be happy. Yes. Like, if my peace is tempered, even in the church, like, everyone will know that
Something is going on.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do you define peace? What is peace to you?
well, peace, well, in my opinion, is a stable mind. When you have, if you are stable in your mind, and there is nothing, how should I even put it? There's nothing bad going on around you, and everything is going on smoothly as you wish and as you want it to be. That is what I define as peace. An
to you.
environment that you find satisfaction.
Right. Oh, okay, I like the last definition, but your explanation, that means nobody will ever be peaceful, because you can never have things going your way the way you have it planned all the time.
It will never happen.
It will never happen. But your peace, what someone does, can affect your peace, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
It can affect it tremendously. So what we are saying is, when you talk about happiness, even just accomplishing something on your own can make you happy. You make yourself happy. We are here again. I know we are in Christian circles. We are not talking about joy, and for you to say, "Oh, the joy of the Lord is my strength." Yes, it is. We are talking about happiness. That's why I ask our ladies out there to just call their husband and just ask him, "Are you happy?" And listen to their response. Because happiness can come from you. Yes, if you have a peace of mind, it will contribute to your happiness, and it will help. But really, if you don't have that peace, you can be really, really troubled. And unfortunately, as you rightly said, not only will it be in just the house or the home, you will take it to other areas, and that can affect your career. That can affect how you relate to other people. So if something is really getting on someone else's nerves so much that you can't even sleep, think about forgiveness. Think about forgiveness, because if you are a person who finds it difficult to forgive, guess who you are hurting? Yourself.
It's a whole different talk show for that one.
I think we should move on to the next.
Go ahead.
I wanted to touch on what you had said earlier. You said how it's peaceful at home. So what are some ways or some tips that the women can create a peaceful atmosphere to make their husband want to come home, not stay out for a while, and those things? What are some examples, tips?
Oh, yeah.
So let me say, I guess what she's asking is, what is your wife doing that is making the house so peaceful that other women can emulate, from your...
I think I talk about it a little bit, but I'll go into much more. What she does is that, she creates a peaceful home in terms of the way she appreciates the things I do, the way she appreciates the fact that I'm a good father, I'm a good husband. She tells me, honey, I will appreciate you cleaning the kitchen. I really appreciate you, washing the dish.
It's offer honey.
Oh, yeah.
Honey baby.
That's right.
No, because men also want to be told. I think we think men don't like compliments. That's sometimes a misconception. But men do. Like, if your husband does something that you really appreciate, tell him. Be like, "Oh, honey, this, I really appreciate you washing the car, my car, detailing my car. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So those things also really, really help, because then she's like, it makes the man even want to do more things, because
He'll kill himself to satisfy you.
Because I know that if I do this, when she comes home, she's going to be excited, she's going to be happy, and that also helps with other things too. So it's no, it's true. No, it's true. No, but
So imagine if our brother gets married and he doesn't know how to cook, but he cooked for the wife. He knows it's a there. But the wife comes and say, honey,
You did your best.
The way he will cook again next time.
No, I think that the idea is not to lie, right? But to say, oh, thank you for making that effort. Thank you for trying.
Yes.
Say, Sam, you did an awesome job. So next time one, I got the Maggie too. So those on 2 Maggies in there and then something like that. Like, I'm happy that at least you took the initiative to do something, and that's what it all is.
I was getting to that because we don't want women that will come and say, "Oh, ew."
Yeah,
you're not going to do it again.
So it discourages you.
For our women, that's a teaching or a learning moment.
Yes.
Oh, honey, you did very well. But I tell you what, on such and such day, let us do it together. And then it helps with the relationship. And then you may have a whole cup of salt, and then she will say, this you have to use about 1/3 of the salt that you have. It's a teaching moment. And one thing that I have seen that I think our women can also benefit from, leave the men to do some of the things that you do, even if they are not doing it right. Sometimes you may be washing the dishes and you put them anyhow. Just before you finish, she will come back and rearrange everything. What it tells me is that, what I did, I didn't do it right, so why bother?
Exactly.
Leave him when you entrust him to wash dishes. Let him wash it. And then arrange it. Look, now when I wash the dishes in the house, and I told you it's just my wife and I, last night, and I washed quite a number of dishes. Guess what? I put everything on the counter and also on the stove and all of that. When she came home, she arranged it the way she wants. Compromise. I will wash it, but I'm not going to arrange it.
Okay.
Because no matter how I arrange it, I don't do it right. So I will leave it on the counter, and then she will arrange it, and everybody is happy.
Yeah, we really want to, again, thank you guys for the time. I just wanted to make this note to our women. The men, we are talking about men do not talk. But if you compare both shows, the woman did less than 2 hours. We are way over 2 hours. So that means men really talk. We have a lot to say, and I think we agree that if the communication is not coming, there's nothing wrong with a woman initiating that communication. Men are willing to talk. It's just, I guess, the way the approach and not shutting men down, like we did mention. Don't say things that will shut them down, then they will not talk about it. And again, men are willing to be vulnerable, but let's make sure that we're not using that against men at a later date and stuff like that. We're really learning a lot. Before we sum up everything, I want you guys to take a few seconds, speak to the women out there. Anything that you want to tell women at all, just anything, summarize something in a few seconds to our women by looking in the camera, because they are listening.
You start from me. As everyone looking at me, what I have to say is, as I initially said, no two persons are the same. So if you're a woman, maybe take your time to know the person that you are with. If you're not married, I'm speaking on the side of singles.
Thank you.
So get to know the person that you are with, get to know his temperament, his weakness, his strengths, and get to know how best that you can help the person improve his life. So pretty much that is the little thing that I have to tell our women.
Thank you. Mr. Norbert?
You're going to jump all the way from
That's how I am.
Oh, really? Okay. So, to my married women out there, communicate with your husbands. If there's anything that you want to do to help in terms of helping them to lead in the home, communicate with them, because they are willing to let you help if you approach it the right way. So communicate with your husbands. If you want to help in any way, shape, or form in growing the home, because remember, it's a partnership. And one thing also is that remember that my normal is not your normal. So build your own normal and make it a routine to actually check in to see if the normal that you are building is actually working for you. If it's not, adjust it and change. Say I do to the same person different times. To our single woman, when you are ready and you are looking for a man, please be sure that the person that you are looking for, it's not a bird and you are not a fish. Make sure that you guys are both from the same faith, you believe in the same thing. Because I believe our sister Nicole said it on the other day that sometimes it's the woman that says, I want to wait before I get into having sex, before you have sex, during courtship, right? If it's important to the man as well, then what is going to happen is that it's not going to be just you pushing for it, right? Both of you are going to do. So look for that person that is God-fearing and communicate. Make a plan of what your future is going to look like or what you want your future to be. And then, commit it to God. It's three strands. It's not easily broken. Yourself, that person, and God in the middle, and you guys will make it. Amen.
Mr. Shadrach?
All right, so I do have advice for all the women out there. I'm talking about especially those who are looking for a spouse, husband. It's good to look for a God-fearing man. That's very important. But I want them to also understand that you have to look beyond that. What I mean by that is this. Sometimes the man that you may see in church or the person that you may see in church, you may be attracted to what the person is doing. So if, let's say, the person preaches very well, it's, leads open prayer very well, that's what these things are.
And what drums?
Or play drums, whatever. That doesn't always translate into a good husband.
Oh, yes.
So if you are looking for somebody like that, it's wonderful. You always have to start in the house of the Lord. Okay, you find a man that is is saved and all that. But I always tell women, always pray to God and say if there's anything about this man that I don't know, if there's anything about this man that I don't know, God, reveal it to me before I get into the marriage, before I move any further, usually in the courtship. So if you see God, if you pray to God about that particular topic, God is faithful, because it's like I said, a person can stand in front of this pulpit and preach the most awesome sermon that you've ever heard and go home and beat his wife. Or go home, the way they will treat their wife, you'll be like, wow. Like two different people. When they are in church, they are totally different. When they are home, they are totally different. So it's very important, and to especially if you want a husband who will love and appreciate you, protect you, and do all those things, always pray to God to expose something about this person that in the future it will cause you any problems. So once you do that, it will save you a lot of headache, because it's easy to get in the marriage. It's very hard to get out. So you always want to make sure you are prepared, and then you let God lead you, find the right partner, and that will help you a lot.
Doc?
Well, what I also want to share as we bring this meeting to a close, I want to use my own life as an example. As I said earlier, I've been married. My wife and I, we've been married for 38 years. Now, of all these 38 years, we have not fought before. And as I mentioned earlier, I cannot cite a single example where I believe my wife disrespected me. And disrespecting is mutual. You have to give her respect, she will give you respect. But what I want to drive down is that for those, and I'm speaking to those who are married and probably even contemplating packing their things and leaving because things are really difficult and they are not working. I want you to hang on a little while, because your husband or your wife is not your enemy, especially if you are a man of faith or a woman of faith. You have a common enemy who will not hesitate to destroy you. See, when you leave, you are not only leaving the man, you are leaving your children and future generations as well, because what they learn from home, they will carry it with them. So, yes, he's difficult. Yes, he's hard to please, but that's the one that God has given to you. Now, after you have prayed, as our brother said, for God to reveal those things to you, the same God who revealed it to you is also capable of getting rid of that. So pray also that not only should he reveal it to you, but should give you strength to be able to be the quote-unquote strong man in the family, and then hold on to it. And then help your husband. You know, all men are not supermen. And even if we were, as we said earlier, somewhere along the line, somebody will put your kryptonite around your neck and you can't function. So all men are not supermen. Certainly your man isn't. But I hope and pray that when you go on your knees, every time you go on your knees, since you are a woman of faith, pray also for your husband and watch God do the miracles that you have been hoping for. And again, remember, he's not your enemy. He's a child of God, just as you are a child of God. And when two children fight and the father comes in, things can be settled. So don't leave your home. Keep your home, knowing that it's not your husband who behind the scenes is driving you out, but your common enemy. Team with your husband, tag team, and then fight this common enemy and keep your home.
You have anything to say?
We thank you all for coming today. We appreciate your time, your support, your advice, and everything. I've learned a lot, and one of the things that I would take is discernment. When looking for a spouse, I believe you should pray about it, especially if you have your eye on somebody, or you're looking at someone, or you're talking to someone. Discernment is very, very important. There may be some things that you're looking at someone and you're like, oh, this person will be a wonderful husband or a wonderful father, and then you go and you pray about it and God is like, no, I have somebody better for you. Learn to accept God's word when he says no. Learn to be patient, learn to be understanding, learn to also know that you are the person that creates your peace. If you are at peace and you are happy, you're able to make a happy home or a happy marriage or just happy anything. Another thing is,
you've really learned a lot, huh?
I've learned a lot.
That's good, that's good.
I've learned a lot, and I thank you all so much.
Again, thank you guys for the time. When we called you guys did not hesitate. You showed up. Really, God bless you for your time, and also educating our women as well from a man's perspective, so that we can grow and improve our relationships. We hope and pray to God that everything that we have discussed today, a lot of people would take it with the intention that we will improve our marriages and also our relationships. We are planning to have the man and the woman together next time. This is the time that will allow us. Again, we want to thank our team, the talk show team, our brother Lopez, and also our deacon Nana Kwesi. We also have our brother Elvis Amo as well that assist. Our co-host, you did great. This is her first time being a co-host. You see her more actually doing it. Again, my name is Deacon Moses. This is the time that will allow us. Thank you, and